Hey, Andre. Showing up right on time. Just working on the live tweet now. How are you doing? Hot minute since I've been here. Speaking of things that are hot, the AC broke in my house, so it is currently 90 degrees in here. Doing meh. What about you? I mean, I'm doing okay. Things are going okay, you know? You know, I've been working on a lot of things, working on myself, working on improving myself and improving my life. And I think that I'm starting to make some good changes, which is always what's important. You're sick? No! You can't be sick. Not allowed. Really good to hear, man. Love it. Thank you. I am, though. What are you sick with? Did you come down with a summer cold? What you coming down with? What you coming down with? It's weird I have no smell, no taste, and I feel dizzy and my stomach hurts. No smell, no taste is usually a telltale sign of the coronavirus. Usually. I'm not sure exactly, you know. I'm not here to diagnose you. I'm just saying. Still though, that does not sound like a good time. So I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you get to feeling better though. And okay, I see you. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. It's gonna be okay. That's exactly what I like to hear. I'm gonna run some quick ads before the stream gets started. You make sure to grab yourself some water, or something to hydrate yourself. Maybe like a Gatorade. Replenish those electrolytes since you're sick. I mean, you have no smell, no taste, so really you could just like grab whatever. But like try and get something to hydrate yourself. Might help out a little bit. But yes, I'm gonna run ads and I'm gonna go get something to hydrate myself. I will be right back. Already drunk 2 liters of water? Okay, maybe you can treat yourself to like some juice or a snack. I don't know. Yes, I'll be right back. Oh, man. I got myself a Gatorade. Got myself a Gatorade. You know, since we're just getting stuff started. You guys make sure that you got your snacks and stuff ready. Giving a little bit of time, people to trickle in if they want to. No need to jump the gun so early. We got plenty of night left to stream. You got some Pringles? Hell yeah. I could vibe with some Pringles. One of these days it's going to be the Roblox stream, I'm telling you. Maybe not necessarily tonight, but one of these days. I know, how exciting. How's the cat doing? She's doing good. She's definitely not a fan of how hot the house is. But you know, she finds a spot, she lays down, she stays chilling. We'll see if she comes and makes herself known at some point during this stream. Hey, what's up? Can you tell that I'm sweaty a little bit right now? I'm sure you might. It's tough. It's tough. You can see the little bit of glisten off of my face. It's, yeah. We're doing our best out here. Let's start off the stream by turning down the lo-fi just a little bit. We're gonna do some doles. We'll do some doles. I already did the Wordle, so that's not quite as fun. Alright. Let me think. Let's do the Laldle. Alright. Here we are. Hey, it's the Laldle. We just guess stuff related to League of Legends. That's fun. Kick it off. Type any champion to begin. Did you see on Twitter UFO and aliens are trending? Did you see me tweet about it? Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. It's disappointing the amount of people who are so quick to just like call people hacks and just be haters. Not even surprised. I mean, yeah, I'm not surprised either. I'm just disappointed in how many people are like, it's so obviously fake. And it's like, no, if you watch the thing, it's not very obviously fake. All right, we got a male, uses mana, probably human. Not from Demacia or Targon. Male uses mana, not a support, possibly human. Let's try Udyr. Male, jungle top, human spiritualist, Freljord / Ionia. I don't have you on Twitter. What your name? At Quern TV. KWERN TV. So my username. Jungler top, male, human spirit. Could be just human probably. Uses mana. Freljord or Ionia. Excuse me. Found ya. Good. Yeah, give me a follow. I always like new followers, and I'm always tweeting about interesting stuff like that. But yeah, I watched the hearing. I was up early that day. I knew that the hearing was happening, so I tuned in for the whole thing. And yeah, it was interesting. All right. Male, human. Mana. You bet your ass I'm gonna follow you. All right, good deal. From Freljord, Ionia. Freljord, Ionia. I don't know if it could be either or if it's actually both of those. Let's try Gragas. Does Gragas also count as a jungle top? He does. Damn it. Not just a human. Not just Freljord. Freljord and Ionia. What? What champions are Freljord and Ionia? And not just a human. So it has to be something else. Him your cat. Yeah. So Freljord Ionia uses mana. Hold on. Oh. Champions. Like 8 eyes? Oh yeah. Could it be an ascended human? Freljord and Ionia. No, that'd be Shurima. What the hell champions are from also Freljord and Ionia? This is blowing my damn mind. One of those ones where it's gonna, like, as soon as I know it, it's gonna freaking blow my mind. Is it a... The Nunu? Would Nunu and Willem be from 2 places? Maybe? Jungle, so it is a jungle, so not human / Yeti. Mana, just from Freljord. Freljord, Ionia. This is blowing my mind. Can't be like Sejuani, because that would be a female / boar. Is it Ivern? Ivern? Because he cut down the world tree? It is. It is Ivern. Okay. In-game quote. Behold the righteous flame. That'd be Leona, I believe. Wait, yesterday's champion was Leona. What? It's not Leona. Behold the righteous flame. I mean, there are other flame champions. There's like Brand. But I could have swore that this would be... Maybe I don't know League of Legends champions as well as I thought I did. Maybe Shyvana? No? Fire champions. Fire champions. One that would say, behold. Behold the righteous flame. Behold the righteous flame. Somebody really haughty? Wouldn't be Milio. Milio, I don't know if Milio would say behold. Would it be Jax? Maybe? I don't know. No, it's not him. Because it's got the lamp. It's got a flame in it. It would say behold, I think. Wouldn't be Annie. Aurelian Soul? I feel like I'm using every champion that has flames involved with their stuff. B... C... E... E... F... G... H... I... J... K... Man, I really am dumb. Wait, Karma. It's Karma. No!
Behold the righteous flame!
I thought that was Leona. Is that not Leona? I know that voice. Okay, back to K. It's Kale. I'm so dumb. Oh, and I've been banning Kale left and right. I've been playing Arena. I should have known Righteous Flame. Kale would say that. Oh, sorry. That was embarrassing. This is Rakan. That's easy. Yay, and that is his W. Emoji. What do we got? Somebody meditating. So, Master Yi. Easy. Splash. What do we got? That looks like a Hextech kind of thing. Maybe it's like Hextech Sejuani? No, yeah, maybe Poppy. Maybe Poppy. It is. It's Hextech Poppy. I used that skin. I played Poppy just recently. And all right, there we did it. We did our dailies. How about that? We did the Loldal. That was embarrassing for the Behold the Righteous Flame part, I will admit. I thought that I would do better on that. Oh, it's okay. It's okay. I can't do the Wordle because I already did the Wordle. I did it last night, right? Wordle. Wordle. New York Times Wordle. Yep, I already did it. I did it last night. That's okay. So tell you what. I do have a plan tonight because I have like a connection to a GTA RP server. I was thinking of at least doing the character creation tonight. Sorry, I'm back. Hey, welcome back. I was thinking of at least doing character creation tonight. Getting through that. But I wanted to do it a little bit later. Take some time to breathe, to relax, to hang out. See how everybody's feeling? See how they're doing? Damn, I never tasted Gatorade ever in my life. Sad? How? How is that even possible? My goodness. Like, I guess it kind of depends on where you're from, on whether or not you've tried Gatorade, but you're in Europe. Yep, that makes sense. That is tough. I am sorry to hear that. But hey, you know, someday you're going to try Gatorade and it's going to blow your freaking mind. Or it won't. Because it's just juice, essentially. Filled with electrolytes. I figured they would be in Europe, though, right? Do you guys have, like, Powerade or anything like that? I don't know. I've never been to Europe. Sad, I know. Nope. Damn. Y'all got, like, sparkling water and that's it? We didn't drink water from the tap? We have something else? Oh, okay. Something else, just by a different name. I mean, to be honest, it can't taste that different, I think. The name is Aquarius? Oh my god, they had Aquarius in Japan. I actually drank Aquarius. I can tell you from experience, Aquarius does not taste that different. Yeah. Also, Andre, if you haven't gotten a chance, check out my YouTube channel. I just recently posted a video for the first time in 2 months. My lazy ass getting out there actually putting out content. Yeah, I know. It's been a busy 2 months. You already subbed? Thank you. I appreciate that. It means so much to me. random like from plant-based playthroughs. Previously, Tactics Gaming. They liked my tweet. Alright. I was looking for random people putting their Twitch links out there. Hey, thank you, plant-based playthroughs, for the like on my tweet. Alright, Andre, I'm snooping on your profile. Is that you in the profile picture? Very handsome. Very, very handsome. Love the hair. Alright, I'm not snooping. I'm not snooping. Sorry. I'm teasing, okay? Now I got a mullet going on? Oh, hell yeah. Now that's real shit. Mullet's always good. Mullet's a hard look to pull off. But hey, more power to you. Sadly, I think I'm past the point in my life that I could rock a mullet. I don't know if there was ever a point in my life where I could have rocked a mullet. It's not really a look for me. My first time trying a mullet. Well, from what I could see, it looked like you had the hair for it, you know? Alright, well, since we're still doing a little bit of just chatting, let's watch some YouTube. Let's watch some YouTube, you know? Let's chill out, vibe for a little bit. Do some React content. You like React content?
Now I've got some pretty dodgy stuff in my garage, but there's one tool I use that always scares me the most.
Thick and curly hair.
This can opener, or more commonly known as the mud crab.
Jesus Christ.
And I've heard some wacky stories about their strength. Like this one fisherman who told me that a mud crab cut off his whole body from his finger. So today, I'm going to put mud crabs to the ultimate strength test and see if they really can cut off a human finger. Okay, I want to test out the mud crab's strength in 3 ways. First, I want to know how much a mud crab can lift and modify one of those strength grippers all the gym boys use and compare them to a mud crab's claw. Then, I want to make some replica fingers made out of ballistic gel with bones inside and put them in the claws to see what happens. And then, if it doesn't look that bad, I'll stick my own finger inside. Or, if it does look bad, I'll stick my mate's finger inside.
Hey Alexa, I made something for you.
So I'm going to start with making the delicious gelatin fingers. And to do that, I'm going to use this stuff called alginate to take a mold. And you might have seen or had this stuff used on you before when you go to the dentist and they take a mold of your finger. And that's what I'm going to do. So I precisely measured the powder and then mixed it with water until it changed colour.
You go to the dentist and they take a mold of your finger.
Sticking in my finger.
So I want it to go the same colour as that. In the moment of truth, can I get my finger out? Nice.
Now, I'm not sure why that was such a stressful experience, but the set rate and amount of water I needed to put in changed every time I did it. But they seem to have worked and all the molds are dry. So next, I took the wings off some chickens and then deboned them.
You can buy boneless chicken. Could I have just bought chickenless bones?
and I think that chicken bones are pretty similar to the thickness of my finger bones, but then again I've never pulled the meat off my bones, so I don't really know. Now, last time I made
Why
these
not put it to
fingers,
the
I did
test?
an 8% gelatin to water mixture, which didn't hold together too well. But this time, I'm going to follow a professional cookbook, which recommends that for a stronger flesh to do a 20% gelatin to water ratio, which should increase the bounciness and resilience of the gelatin, making it more similar to a human finger that has a chicken bone inside of it. It also recommends I shouldn't use horse gelatin, but instead use Mackenzie's gelatin, which is made, presumably, from Mackenzie.
Vegan cookbook.
Okay, I started
yeah.
mixing it all, making sure to
For making
inhale
human
as many
fingers.
gelatin spores as possible.
That's what the vegans love.
That's good stuff.
Don't you?
This got real thick quick and reminds me of the texture of cum. So once it was all mixed up, I poured it into the finger mold and then poked in the chicken bones and put it in the fridge for 8 hours to set, which means I've got some time to kill. Speaking of which, I've also really been into a new mobile game, which is the sponsor of today's video, Watcher of Realms. It is, and not because I want to show off at all, here's my hand strength. With my right, I pulled 89 kilos or 200 pounds for the Americans. With my left, I pulled 80 kilos or Wo La Le Bao Shi Ju Gong Jing for the Chinese, and 30 kilos with my cheeks.
Wow, impressive.
So I really hope that the mud crabs are at least as strong as my cheeks. Okay, now to modify the scale. First, I just hit this metal bar with a hammer until it gave up and bent, then drilled holes in it and screwed it in. And that's done. And hopefully this gap is now small enough to fit inside the claws of the crab. And I'm very excited to get a digital number telling me how much claw force crabs actually have, as all the numbers on the internet seem way too high, with some scientists saying they have 700 pounds of crushing force. But that doesn't seem to
700?
make sense considering how small their claws are. But then again, it might be true, as people have even done theses on this topic filled with diagrams. And this guy even went as far as jacking off a crab to find out the answer. Okay, that seemed around 8 hours. So I took the molds out of my fridge, and also the fingers, and then cracked them open.
That is good. Look at that.
Wow. Fake fingers
so
with chicken
cool.
bones in them. I don't know why this is so gross to me.
Oh, my
It just ain't right.
fingernails,
Something ain't right.
disgusting. I don't know if you can see the details properly in that, but that is. Look at it. Look at that.
And these look disgusting. Exactly the same as my real fingers. Now I might look rushed during all of this, and that's because I am, and I'm unboxing stupid gelatin fingers at 2 AM at night when I have a flight the next morning at 5 AM to Queensland. And I'm going there to meet an Aussie legend and YouTuber named Willem Powerfish, who's going to hook me up with some big crabs. Because as far as I'm aware, there just aren't any muddies
Gonna
in
snap
Sydney
through.
besides Carl. in
Could you
my
imagine
toolbox.
losing your finger to
Now,
a crab?
Willem is a strange bloke who
That would
does
suck.
fishing pranks and causes trouble at the boat ramp. But his most infamous videos are probably where he walks around a construction site paying tradies to put mud crabs on their face. So he's the perfect man for this video. If I can get all my fingers
Why?
through airport
Why?
security, which I'm now realizing might be an issue. But after a nervous 30 minutes, I got through. And I really wish I got video footage of the confusion on the X-ray operator's face when he was trying to figure out what the 6-finger and vibrator-shaped objects were in my bag.
They stopped and they looked at it and they zoomed in, and then she looked at it and then she just licked her lips like she saw that chicken, like she saw chicken bones, and then just continued and slept through.
But I got through with almost all my fingers intact.
This is
So what's this?
little ballistic finger.
Hang on, is there chicken in there?
It's a chicken bone.
What?
So it was the closest bone I could find to the same thickness of a
What do you make this out of?
gelatin.
Can you eat it?
You could eat that.
Really?
You can have a nibble of one if you want.
Alright, now I thought Willem would have some mud crabs ready to go for us, but it turns out we need to catch him. And luckily, he knows a great secret muddy hole, hidden away in the mangroves. Only problem was that we had to get across this old, falling apart bridge.
Nah, we're not going in. We'll make it.
Oh, it's not that bad. I'm so with heights.
Oh, heights.
Scares. It's not high, but I'm just a massive baby.
Yeah.
Of the content. Interesting content, at least.
You're doing well. We've only got this, and then
This is a long. This is a lot of
and the
trouble
rest
to go
of the
through to
bridge
get the mud
to go.
crabs.
No, the rest of the bridge is easier. Carry all this stuff in, and we don't even know if we're going to catch mud crabs or not.
I mean, like, how are you going to come back across with crabs?
And after getting rust cuts on almost every one of my toes, we made it across to the other side, and then headed our separate ways into the mangroves until one of us found a crab.
I can only imagine the mosquitoes coming at you.
So
Also,
Yeah, is there such a thing as quick mud? Can you die in this?
Which surprisingly only took a couple of minutes before Willem found our first one hiding in a hole under this pipe.
no, I would not be wanting to do this.
Is it comfortable?
It's actually really comfy.
He's just in the mud.
No wonder there are all these crabs here.
To get the mud crab, become the mud crab.
Oh,
Why's he got a luchador mask
he's ready
on?
for you. He sees you.
Right,
It's a good look.
We've definitely found a mud crab.
Look at his eyes.
Look at him.
Oh, he's blowing little bubbles.
Oh, it's him in front of my camera.
Oh,
He's trying to dig.
Is he trying to dig?
I think he's trying to get away, yeah.
Should I use the shovel or get my
Nah,
hands
you
in there?
use your hands. Like, maybe are you blocking your view?
I am blocking. I'll come over where you are. Can I join you in the mud?
there's your chance to escape, crab. While he's not watching.
He's actually trying right now. He's getting deeper. So,
Oh,
yeah,
whoa, he's so deep.
Yeah, he's getting deep. Right, you're gonna have to come in from behind.
Oh,
Wait, that's it. What the? Just grab the back legs.
you got him?
Oh, don't lose him.
Oh, he's slipping towards me. He's slipping towards me. Can I go like that? Yeah. That's working. All right. Hell, he's massive.
Oh my god.
Whoa! Yeah.
Big boy.
That's a horse. That's a big buck. They call them bucks.
I would not enjoy
You're
that.
shaking, you right?
Perfectly fine. This is probably one of the scariest animals I've ever touched.
Yeah, they look scary as well, and I think just the pounds of pressure that these claws hold is just phenomenal, man. Like,
Well, if you look at that compared to the rest of its body, just look how much meat is in there.
yeah,
It's
that's the best bit.
So much muscle.
Let's get out of this mud.
Do we need any more? I think this is pretty much enough for science, right?
Yeah, I think this is enough for science.
Yeah, like we could bag out if we wanted. You know?
Oh, easy.
Like I reckon there's easily another 800 just in here.
Well, that's all of these air bubbles. Is
800.
actually a crab.
It's a crab. All right. Well,
Yeah, that'll be enough.
yeah, no, we don't want to be greedy though.
It's like a day spa.
Oh, look at these crabs on my foot.
Little crabs.
Little crabs
Oh.
around.
Yeah, because you're probably just taking their mother.
That's right. Get off her.
Probably tastes like shit.
Can you even get up?
Yeah, put him.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised.
Beautiful.
clean him up.
Could you imagine the meat of that claw?
I'm actually currently stuffed, eh?
It lives in the mud.
There was something sharp.
Yeah.
Oh.
Don't stand there.
Did you bring a change of clothes?
Nah. I didn't know. I thought they were just like, you just catch them in like the sand or something. I mean, mud crabs.
Yeah, they are
That
mud
makes sense.
crabs.
I have to get back on a plane. Look at my legs.
And this is way bigger than any mud crab I was expecting to find. It was also surprisingly calm, considering that a random bloke had his fingers on his arse cheeks. But maybe that's what mud crabs like. But it could also be the cold temperature, which is a bad thing, which means they might be really chilled out and not willing to squeeze as hard as they can. And one crab is enough for the test. But on the way back to our stuff, we stumbled upon one just sitting underneath this log.
I reckon that's safe to say that's a mud crab.
Well,
there. He's big. He's big.
That's it.
You got it?
Oh my god.
Oh! Whoa!
That is fucking amazing.
He's becoming a master
Dude, he's
so quickly.
And lucky for us, the second mud crab we found was a little more angry.
Hey!
Man, it really sucks having a big cock.
So the first thing I wanted to test was their grip strength, and I'm hoping they get at least 50 kilos.
You reckon they'll fit in there?
Yes.
Okay, let's just see it's working.
So we just need something to tickle the hair. Not use.
You run out of battery on this thing.
No, okay. and try to tickle his hairs.
Oh, he's grabbing.
He's not biting.
Oh, it's going down. 10 kilograms, 12.
Whoa, 15.
And I feel like crabs have more than 15 kilos in them, so we tried the bigger guy.
Okay.
Oh, he's got it. Whoa! 30 Ks, 30 kilograms.
30.5.
In like a second.
Yeah, it's interesting. When it hits 30, it stops immediately.
Yeah, he just
It's
like
actually
chills out and
then it
And
stops.
31 kilos or 70 pounds is not bad, especially considering
That's-
that the crab only weighs 1.5 kilos.
That's
so it's
kind of a lot
20
for something
times
so
their
small,
body weight.
I guess.
That's the same as me squeezing 1,800 kilos or Yishen Bai Bai Gong Jing with just 2 fingers. And I did want to see a higher number, but maybe it's because the crabs could tell that they weren't grabbing onto an actual threat, so they didn't want to squeeze as hard as they could. So I decided to move on to the ballistic fingers to see what damage they would do, but first had to get the crabs to let go of the scale.
He's strong, eh?
Literally, I'm pulling as hard as I can, and I cannot get that
And
open.
you're very strong.
I'm a very strong man. Thank you. Oh, there we go. Something?
Is he opening?
No, that was my pliers slipping. I mean,
your pliers just break. Well, you reckon he'll crack this bone?
Oh, yeah, he's
Pissed off.
This one's.
all right, should I give him a finger?
Do you want to get him out to get a clearer shot?
Yeah. yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
it's fast.
Yeah, he's getting.
Oh, fuck
psycho.
that.
How do you even grab
I'm not
it?
putting my hands anywhere near that thing.
Come on.
Oh,
Oh,
So he's biting down.
he's biting down.
going for it.
Oh wait, has he gone all the? He's gone
No,
all
he's
the way.
touching. He's gone all the way
on
through.
Tradies fingers.
Oh
Does
my
this
god!
happen?
You never do the
Yeah.
finger.
That'll happen.
That will happen.
And the ballistic gel isn't holding up very well, and the crab managed to get through the flesh and down to the bone in a second. Then, just like a real finger, the flesh nicely degloved.
Oh,
Oh my god.
what did he? Well, he's degloved.
And I reckon this flesh isn't accurate, as the crabs seem to slice through this like butter.
Oh, look at that.
It would be a good narrative.
He just shot through it like butter, man. Watch it. Watch this.
That's
That doesn't make any sense.
But the bones are
Mm-mm.
real at least, so we tried another one in the hope that we could get it to snap the bone.
There we go. Let go.
No, he's trying to eat it.
Oh, he was. So if we go over to this guy. I want to feel. Hey!
Oh, whoa! That was.
Hey!
He's playing dumb.
Jesus, man. Boy, this one's
He's back alive,
psycho.
or should we give him another finger?
A little
Oh,
spicy.
There we
A
go.
little spicy little guy.
Right, he's
Yeah,
locked
he's-
onto this. He's locked onto the
Oh,
pliers.
he's going for another one.
Look at this. Going for the pliers, man. I can't get the pliers out. There we go.
I mean, he completely ripped the. Oh, yep. Oh! Oh! No, I heard the snap.
Yeah, I heard that too.
I mean, I would say myth.
Oh,
Plausible.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What the? Look
Not
how
sure
I
really
think he's
needed to
gonna try
do
get
that.
your finger.
And even
Do
though I
you do
want
these
this to be true,
experiments that
I don't
much?
think these bones are as strong as real
Probably
finger
easier ways to
bones.
figure it out,
Also,
but you know.
most annoyingly, the crabs still seem to know that these aren't real fingers and don't seem to be clenching that hard. They are too focused on trying to nip us. So, after a group discussion, we decided that one of us had to put their finger in.
Just the palm. Do here. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to go across there.
How do you reckon we get him to let go? Just wait.
Pliers.
I'll pry 'em open.
And now, I just had to pick which crab I would like to get mutilated by.
He's got the nicer claw there. They're like, I'm worried about the curve on that one. No, the thing is though, I don't know why I'm looking. There's no nice option.
Exactly.
Yeah, trying to find the best crab to bite you.
Look, I've had many people attacked by these and watched a lot of people in a lot of pain. And I think your best option is just get in there and then get out. In and out.
Don't do it at all.
Shake his hand.
Don't do it at all.
Introduce yourself. And because if he likes you, he'll let go.
I just say, hello, my name is Alex.
That's it.
Hand straight in there.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter what hand you shake to him. It doesn't matter. So
Well, the thing is, when I put my hand, this other claw's coming back around
yeah,
there.
because they usually, well, it's a custom for them as well. They like double hand shakes.
Double hand shakes.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So I'll hold him. You come in there, stick and shake his hand.
Straight there. I might hold this one so I can.
Oh, you want to do this one?
Yeah.
I was going to hold this one.
You're gonna hold that one?
Yeah, I'll hold this.
Oh,
I'm telling you now, the smaller ones hurt than more than the bigger. Yeah. Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you.
you recording? Yeah.
Why? Why?
You got this.
Hi, I'm Alex. Hi, I'm Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex. I can't do it.
Oh, you were so close.
You were there.
I saw it happening.
I was gonna.
Being a
Come on.
YouTuber seems
Come on.
No, you film down there.
great.
Come
You
on.
know,
You can
all
do
about
it.
life experiences.
Just do it.
It looks like the devil on your shoulder. He's dressed so ridiculously.
Do it. Do it.
Steve-O would do it. I mean, I don't doubt that, but
Go. In there. Just put it in. Put it in and close your eyes.
Like, you have
it's
a
just,
fire.
you know, it's gonna hurt really, really bad.
Oh yeah, there it is. No, they're in there. That's alright.
I'll do it if you do it.
I'll do it
yeah,
if you do it. If you do it, I'll do it.
Why does he still got the mask on?
Why is this so hard?
That's what I'll do.
Why the hard? I've done so much dumber.
Well, there you go. This is nothing.
Done.
Okay, you ready? Say the line and hold your hand there, because I'll put it straight on. Say the line. Get your hand out.
Now, I tried for probably an hour to put my hand in the mud crab's claw, but I just couldn't do it.
If you put your cock in there, if you put your cock in there, I'll put my hand in there. I think that's it.
If you do it, I'll do it. Say the line and hold your hand there, because I'll put it straight on. Say the line. Get your hand out.
It's the same clip, but different angle.
They're leaving us here in the mangroves if you don't do it.
Will you do it?
Gotta say the line.
Hi, Mr. Crab. I'm Alexa. It's nice to meet you. Oh.
Let the crab go.
Okay.
No, he's gonna go. He's gonna get me with the other one. Don't let him go. Don't let him go.
Let the crab go, Alex.
Don't let him. Oh, he's fuck.
He just,
Okay,
you know what?
Someone get it off.
Hang on, you gotta
No.
You gotta tell us how much
He didn't-
pain do you put.
He didn't take any
It's
time.
the worst handshake I've ever had. It's the he gets angry. Don't move the other hand, because the more you move that one, the more this one goes.
But if I let go of this hand,
Alright, so basically,
No, don't
on, let go.
give me another. Okay, now that's bad. He's pitching real hard now.
gonna give you this one. Let
No,
go.
you are.
I promise
Just take
you.
it off.
I promise
I'm holding
you.
him. I'm holding him. It's fine.
Okay, so what we want to do is.
That actually pains.
Hang on.
No, don't take it off. Don't take it off. Don't take it off. No.
should I get something
no.
in and start?
Just no, please.
He's a real man.
Okay,
I've done it. I've done it. Get the
Look, he didn't get all in
he's
in
the
his own
wise.
head
He's
about
the
it. He
wise.
just went for it.
Just make sure you hold this guy.
Numb.
Okay, we got a problem.
No, it's good. He was releasing a little bit.
Oh, is he?
Yep.
It's good. We're almost there. I have to go back across
Put
the
him,
bridge.
put
but
him
this-
down. Put him down.
No.
No, that's how he'll release.
But then the other hand might grab you.
Put him down.
Just
Oh, no,
watch-
he's pitching so much harder.
No, he'll
Okay.
let go.
No,
Just keep a
no,
hand
I
on
don't
that.
want that.
Yeah.
No.
No, just try it. Try it
Yeah,
again. Try it
yeah.
again.
Should we? Yeah, let's get that in
Try
there.
it again. Look at that angle. Oh, he's so deep in me, mother. Oh, he's up. Oh. Here. I'm stuck with this.
Yep.
Let go.
Yeah, slowly.
Get out of there.
That is not fun.
This is the worst bit. Man.
Might have gone a little too deep with the
I've had
handshake.
Paul as well.
No.
Let go.
Oh!
Come on, get
Get him up!
Oh, B.
Ow.
Dude.
Mm-mm.
Dude. Dude, it didn't even break the skin.
Get it on camera.
That's so f***ing good.
So there you go. It turns out mud crabs can't cut off your finger. And they probably have enough strength through it, but their claws are designed to pinch and grab, not cut.
I cannot believe after all that, you're more scared of the bridge.
This is much worse.
Also, it turns out Alexa's pain wasn't necessary, as Willem already has a couple of videos doing exactly this. Like this one, where this tradie puts 2 mud crabs on a single finger and didn't get any real injuries. But that's not to say there can't be serious injuries, and Willem waited until after Alexa put the crab on his hand to tell me this, but it turns out some people that have been bit by mud crabs have lost limbs. And not from the force of the claws,
Is that
but
the
from
one that
infection. And I don't know why we didn't think of this, as obviously if you dig something out of this disgusting primordial soup and then let it stab through your skin, you're going to get all sorts of crazy bacteria into your body, like Vibrio vulnificus, which has caused many amputations and even killed people. But luckily Alexa doesn't know this, and I'm not going to tell him. I'll just make a video if he dies. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please check out some of my other videos.
That's... wow. They killed the crab. They didn't put it back. I mean, I guess, like, you know, it got caught, but yeah, they just sort of killed that thing. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, we'll see if we can watch something else. That was a lot. That was a lot. But I think if you're gonna do something stupid like that, like put your hand into a mud crab's claw, that's the best way to do it. Just no bullshit. Are you vegan? I am not vegan. I got nothing against vegans, but that's a lot of dietary restrictions that I would just have a lot of trouble following. You know what I mean? Good? What do you mean good? Look, some people just want to eat differently than others, and some people gotta eat differently than others. Like, I know somebody who can't digest like certain meats and stuff like that properly, or gluten, or you know, just stuff like that, and so they're basically forced onto a vegan diet. And you know, sometimes it really do be like that. Nothing wrong with being vegan. Everybody's got their thing. Look, all I'm saying is just don't be a hater. Come on. Put the music back on. Right. I'll see if I can find like some other video for us to watch. Yeah, I'm like dying down here. Rehydrate. Good point. Streaming as long as I can before I, you know, overheat and die, which would be not good. Watch some Daily Dose of Internet? No. Sorry, I don't watch Daily Dose of Internet. Not really my cup of tea, I would say. What's your cup of tea? Oh, I have some like educational videos and stuff like that I watch. Fun, right? Do you like education? Hold on, where's the let me know video? Let me know, 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 let me know. They had a video on the JFK assassination. I don't know. We're gonna watch it. It was on my recommended feed. Do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast? No, I do not. Here it is. This is an hour and 40 minutes long. All right, well, let's start watching.
Just let me know.
If it's interesting, we'll keep watching. It's on the JFK assassination.
Right about here, in Dallas, Texas, American President John F. Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd, 1963. The accused assassin was a man named Lee Harvey Oswald. After being held in custody for less than 2 days, Oswald himself would meet a violent end. According to a subsequent investigation, Oswald had fired 3 rounds from the Texas School Book Depository. Police recovered 3 shell casings and a bolt-action rifle from the 6th floor of the building. But the shooting of Oswald sparked immediate suspicions of conspiracy. Suspicions that persist to this day and have driven most Americans to reject the government's conclusion that Oswald acted alone. The arguments for and against
there are a lot of
conspiracy
theories.
take many shapes and forms.
Look, man, the CIA
Far
did
too
it.
many, in fact, to do them all justice in a single video.
We already know that.
Is that in this video, I want to zoom
Guaranteed.
in and focus on a very narrow slice of this case. Specifically, the events surrounding the Texas School Book Depository. What exactly happened inside this building from where the shots that killed the president are believed to have been fired?
Be right back.
In September of 1963, a young man named Wesley Frazier received a call from an employment agency. There was a potential job opening at the Texas School Book Depository. On September the 13th, Frazier made his way from Irving, Texas, down to central Dallas. He met with Roy Truly, the superintendent of the building, and was hired on the spot. Back in Irving, Frazier lived with his older sister, Leanie Randall. A few houses down the street lived a woman named Ruth Payne. On October the 14th, both Randall and Payne had a cup of coffee at the house of a neighbor. Payne brought along a friend and Russian immigrant named Marina Oswald, the wife of Lee Oswald. Marina could barely speak any English and had been staying with Payne for a few weeks, partly due to her husband's unemployment.
The subject of Lee looking for work and that he hadn't found work for a week came up while we were having coffee.
And Mrs. Randall mentioned that her younger brother, Wesley Frazier, thought they needed another person at the Texas School Book Depository where Wesley worked.
Payne and Marina returned home, spoke with Roy Truly over the phone, and secured a job interview on behalf of Lee Oswald. The following morning, he went down to the book depository and began his first day of work on October
Grabbed
16th.
a beer.
So, an acquaintance with whom Oswald's wife was currently staying had a casual conversation with a neighbor. That neighbor happened to have a brother who recently got employed at the book depository. This prompted his wife to ask the acquaintance to call the superintendent of the building to inquire about any vacancies.
I told Mrs. Payne that to send Oswald down and I would talk to him, that I didn't have anything in mind for him of a permanent nature, but if he was suited, we could possibly use him for a brief time.
Beer is
The
very good to
position was not
hydrate.
only temporary, but only existed due to a temporary
It's to keep me
shortage of
balanced
staff.
out, you know.
It was the end of our fall rush. If it hadn't existed a week or 2 weeks longer, or if we had not been using some of our regular boys putting down this plywood floor, we would not have had any need for Lee Oswald at that time, which is a tragic thing for me to think about.
But it gets even more tragic because Oswald was not the only one to apply for a job.
Yeah, I do the
I
same.
might have sent Oswald to work in a warehouse 2 blocks away. Oswald and another fellow reported for work on the same day, and I needed one of them for the depository building. I picked Oswald.
If Oswald was somehow entangled in a conspiracy, and the aim of that conspiracy was for him to become employed at the book depository, this roundabout sequence of events is a very strange way to go about it.
You love me? You love me for cracking open a cold one? when
As the
I'm
name
heated
implies,
up
the
as
Texas
hell?
School Book
Hi.
Depository was in the business of selling books.
Oh my
For
gosh.
$1.25 an hour, Oswald's
Stella?
job was to prepare
Oh,
the books for
okay, you're a
shipping.
Stella fan.
He did so by filling out forms and transporting cartons of books between the upper floors and the first. The building had 3 elevators, 2 staircases, and was 7 stories tall. In the northwest corner, 1 stairway and 2 freight elevators provided access to all 7 floors. A small passenger elevator near the front entrance stopped at level 4, while stories 1 and 2 were connected by a second flight of stairs. Lacking a driver's license, Oswald relied on Wesley Frazier to carpool between Irving and Dallas every Friday evening and Monday morning. He spent workdays at a rooming house in Dallas while spending the weekends with his wife and daughters in Irving. But on Thursday morning, November the 21st, the day before the assassination, Oswald decided to deviate from this routine.
I was standing there on the first floor getting the orders in, and Lee said, "Could I ride home with you this afternoon?"
It's
And
my
I
baby.
said, "Sure. You know, like I told you,
cat.
you can go home with me anytime you want to. Like I say,
That's a
anytime you want to
little
go see
bit.
your wife, that is all right with me." Lee had never gone home in the middle of the week before, so I asked him why, and he stated that he was going home to get some curtain rods for his apartment. I asked if he was going home on Friday as well, and he said no.
Frazier drove Oswald back to Irving, where he arrived unannounced at the household of Ruth Payne. Both Payne and Marina were surprised to see Oswald on a Thursday. They assumed he'd come to make amends with Marina due to an argument they had had a few days before.
Did your husband give any reason for coming home on Thursday?
He said that he was lonely because he hadn't come the preceding weekend and he wanted to make his peace with me.
Was anything said about curtain rods or his taking curtain rods to town the following day?
No, I didn't have any.
He didn't say anything like that.
No.
The next day, Oswald said goodbye to his wife and left the Payne residence about 7:15. Atop a dresser in the bedroom, he left behind his wedding ring. Oswald was next seen walking down the street by Lenny Randall, carrying a package.
The Russians,
He was
man?
soon joined
Hey.
by Frazier, and the two of them took a seat in his car to begin their commute.
That's an
When
American
you got in the
with
car,
a Russian accent.
did you say anything to Oswald, or did he say anything to you?
I noticed there was a package lying on the back seat. I didn't pay too much attention, and I said, "What's the package, Lee?" And he said, "Curtain rods." And I said, "Oh yes, you told me you were going to bring some today."
Not only was Oswald carrying a large package, but he'd forgotten to bring a lunch bag.
When he rode with me, I say he always brought lunch, except that one day on November 22nd. He didn't bring his lunch that day. Right when I got in the car, I asked him where was his lunch, and he said he was going to buy his lunch that day.
Ah, yes.
They arrived in Dallas a few minutes before 8 o'clock. Typically,
When do
they
we
would
start getting into
walk
the
together from the
conspiracies?
parking lot to the Book Depository.
It's a
But on
long
this particular
video.
Friday, Oswald grabbed his curtain rods and rushed ahead into the building.
Oh my god.
Working on the ground floor, in view of the rear entrance, was their colleague, Jack Doherty.
Did you see Oswald come to work that morning?
Yes, when he first came into the door.
Did he have anything in his hands or arms?
Well, not that I could see of.
Frazier and Doherty are the only two people known to have seen Oswald entering the building. Frazier says he was carrying a package. Doherty says he was not. Contradictions like this one will become a recurring theme throughout the rest of this video. We'll take a closer look at the missing curtain rods in a later chapter, but for now, let's stay with Oswald. As the morning progressed, Oswald was seen working as normal. Roy Truly described him as an above-average worker who mostly kept himself. In fact, he was a bit of a mystery to his colleagues.
On the
I do
way
like
back
the
and forth between
cinematography
Irving and
of the
Dallas,
Let Me Know
did you
videos. They're
talk
pretty
very
good.
much to each other?
No, sir, not very much. He was one of these types that just didn't talk.
I was acquainted with Lee Oswald during the time he was employed at the book depository, but I never did get to know him well. He did not mix with the other employees and did not appear to want to make friends with me or any of the others.
Did you ever speak
Sounds
to
like
Oswald?
me at my job.
Yes, sir.
I don't need
Did
friends.
he ever speak to you?
No, sir.
He never replied to you.
No, sir.
Would you say he was unfriendly?
Yes, sir, I would.
But there were exceptions to his reticence, and one of them occurred on this Friday morning. James Jarman was working on the ground floor when he observed Oswald staring at the window facing Elm Street.
Oswald was standing up in the window, and I went to the window also, and he asked me, what were people gathering
James
around the
Earl
corner
Jarman
for? And I told him
Jr.?
that the
That's a
president was
hell
supposed
of
to
a
pass in
name.
the morning, and he asked
James
me, did I
Earl
know which
Jarman
way he was
Jr.
coming? And I told him, yes, he'll probably come down Main.
They don't
and
make
turn
names
on
like that anymore.
And then back again on Elm. Then he said, oh, I see. And that was
James
all.
Earl Jarman Jr.
It's a brief yet fascinating moment. It almost seems as though Oswald had no idea that Kennedy would pass by the book depository. This was indeed the case for some of his colleagues. Jarman himself had only been made aware of the fact shortly before he spoke with Oswald. There's no doubt that Oswald knew the president was coming to Dallas, but whether he knew the route of the motorcade is much more difficult to prove. The route of the motorcade had only been finalized a few days before the visit and hinged upon its destination. Kennedy was supposed to attend a banquet in Dallas, but no one could agree on a venue. It came down to two options: the Trade Mart northwest of downtown or the Women's Building to the east. One of the more vocal proponents of the Trade Mart was Texas Governor John Connally, and after much back and forth, he finally got his way on November the 14th. Had the Women's Building been selected, the motorcade would have sped through Dealey Plaza, east on Main Street, significantly further away and perpendicular to the book depository. Not to mention that First Lady Jacqueline would have been seated between the building and the president. The selection of the Trade Mart meant that the motorcade would now head west on Main Street and make
How would they
these
know?
turns through Dealey Plaza to reach the northbound lanes on the freeway. Now, these turns could still have been avoided had the motorcade continued like so and not taken the freeway, but since the freeway was the more scenic and expedient route, it was the more attractive choice. All of that is to say, the success of the assassination was largely dependent upon the selection of the Trade Mart. It might therefore be tempting to cast suspicion upon Governor Connally, but it should be noted that he rode in the presidential limousine along with the Kennedys and suffered grave injuries during the shooting. Not only that, but Connally was actually opposed to a motorcade and favored a more direct route from the airport to the Trade Mart, a brief trip that would have bypassed Dealey Plaza altogether. He was unfortunately overruled by Kennedy himself, who wanted to see and be seen by the people of Dallas. Okay, so all that was happening behind the scenes, but as far as the public was aware, there wasn't even going to be a motorcade. As late as November the 15th, the Dallas Morning News reported that a motorcade seemed unlikely. But the very next day, the parade was finally confirmed. While the precise route followed by maps and detailed descriptions was not officially disclosed until November the 19th, someone familiar with Dallas could have approximated the route a few days in advance. That is to say, the earliest point a member of the public could have deduced that Kennedy would be driven past the Book Depository was November the 16th, less than a week before the visit.
Hey, that's enough time to plan anything.
There's a good chance that Oswald saw these articles because he'd been observed reading political columns in the very same newspapers. Furthermore, we know from other aspects of Oswald's life that he was politically inclined.
Well, I have studied Marxist philosophy, yes, sir, and also other philosophers.
But are you a Marxist? I think you did admit on an earlier radio interview that you consider yourself a Marxist.
Well, I would very definitely say that I am a Marxist. That is correct. But that does not mean, however, that I'm a communist.
What is the difference between the two?
Well, there's a great deal of difference. Several American parties in several countries are based on Marxism, such as Ghana. Certain countries have characteristics of a socialist system, such as Great Britain with its socialized medicine. These, then, are the differences between an outright communist country and countries which adhere to leftist or Marxist principles.
Damn.
Conversely, a lack of interest in politics is precisely why at least one of Oswald's colleagues remained oblivious to the motorcade.
They were talking
so
about the same
understandable
shit
for someone apolitical to be
60
taken off
years
guard
ago?
by a presidential visit. It makes far less sense for someone like Oswald.
On November 21st, the day before the assassination that you were describing, was there any discussion between you and your husband about President Kennedy's trip or proposed trip to Texas, Dallas, and the Fort Worth area?
I asked Lee whether he knew where the president would speak and told him that I would very much like to hear him and to see him. I asked him how this could be done, but he said he didn't know how to do that and didn't enlarge any further on the subject.
Had there ever
This
been...
was also somewhat unusual, his lack of desire to talk about that subject any further.
How did you think it was unusual? Could you explain that?
The fact that he didn't talk a lot about it. He merely said something as an answer, and did not have any further comments.
Do you mean by that, usually he would discuss a matter of that kind and show considerable interest?
Yes, of course. He would have told me who would be there and where this would take place.
We'll never know what Oswald was thinking when he spoke with James Jarman shortly before the assassination. But it is worth repeating, though, that Oswald was hired on October the 15th. That's a full month before the motorcade route had been decided, let alone announced to the public.
Very coincidental. I don't know. It could actually just be a coincidence.
On the morning of November the 22nd, a handful of employees had been assigned to install a new plywood floor on the 6th floor of the Book Depository. Every once in a while, they would catch a glimpse of Oswald.
I saw Lee Oswald shortly before lunchtime. He was by himself with a piece of paper in his hand. I had nothing to say to him, but some of the other male employees teased him and told him he ought to go get a haircut. Lee Oswald just laughed at this remark.
Shortly before noon, it was time for lunch. For a bit of fun, they decided to race the 2 elevators down to ground level.
It was the
As
haircut
they began
comment.
descending, they observed Oswald now standing on the 5th floor. He shouted for them to stop or to close the gate to the elevator upon reaching the 1st floor. Charles Givens then realized he'd forgotten his jacket and cigarettes up on the 6th floor. About to return to ground level, Givens spotted Oswald approaching.
Lee was coming from the window up front where the shots were fired from.
Did you watch where he walked to?
Well, no, sir. I didn't pay much attention. I was getting ready to get on the elevator, and I say, "Boy, are you going downstairs?"
What did he say to you?
I say, "It's near lunchtime," and he said, "No, sir. When you get downstairs, close the gate to the elevator." That meant the elevator on the west side. You can pull both gates down, and it'll come up by itself.
What else did he say?
That is all. I said, "Okay," and got on the elevator.
And with that, Givens became the last person inside the Book Depository known to have seen Oswald before the assassination. At least, that's the official story. The encounter was fixed at 11:55, more than half an hour before the shooting. But other employees claimed to have seen Oswald in other parts of the building around the same time or even later than Givens. Givens himself provided conflicting accounts. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This encounter notwithstanding, Givens was not the last person to visit the 6th floor. Shortly after Givens had left, Bonnie Williams grabbed his lunch and went upstairs. He sat down right about here to await the president's arrival.
Now, when you were sitting by the window, could you see down towards the southeast corner?
No, sir. I couldn't see anything as I remember there. About the only thing that I could see from there would be the top edge of the window because the boxes were stacked up.
Did you see anyone else up there that day?
No, I did not.
The southeast corner is the location from where the shots that killed the president are believed to have been fired, the so-called sniper's nest. Williams says he was alone, but admits his view was obstructed by tall stacks of boxes. Meanwhile, down by the main entrance, someone was attempting to gain access to the building.
I met an elderly white man at the entrance of the building who asked me to direct him to a restroom. The man was very old and feeble and could hardly make it up the steps. About 5 minutes later, I saw this man leave the building and enter an old Buick automobile with 3 elderly white women. The Buick then drove away.
Did you see him talk to anyone in the building?
No, he went straight out.
This individual was never identified and is the only unknown person known to have entered the book depository before the shooting. After finishing his lunch up on the 6th floor, Bonnie Williams heard the voices of James Jarman and Harold Norman emanating from the floor below. Feeling a bit lonely, Williams went down to the 5th floor and joined his 2 colleagues. The exact time of Williams' departure is unclear, but it was likely no more than 10 or even 5 minutes before the shooting. On the grounds below, a sea of spectators lined the streets of Elm in Houston. Every once in a while, one of them would glance up at the book depository. Indeed, Jarman, Williams, and Norman were spotted on multiple occasions, leaning out the far east windows on the 5th floor. But movement could also be seen on the floor above them, a floor that, by all accounts, was now supposed to be empty.
No! It's very weird. So this is more just like a recounting of everything, and then maybe later on
awaiting the motorcade by the east curb of Houston
stuff.
was a young, newlywed couple named Arnold and Barbara Rowland. Some 15 minutes before the shooting, Arnold spotted a white man in the westernmost window on the 6th floor of the book depository. The man was holding a rifle, his gaze locked at Houston. Despite standing a few meters away from an officer, Arnold chose not to report the gunman.
Arnold, you dumbass!
Did it ever enter your mind that you should go and tell the policeman of this sight or this vision that you had seen?
He was a high school student, so...
It never entered your mind?
I never dreamed of anything such as that. I mean, I must honestly say, my opinion was based on movies I have seen, on the attempted assassination of Theodore Roosevelt, and the other one, Franklin Roosevelt. And both of these had Secret Service men up in windows or on top of the buildings with rifles. And this is how my opinion was based, and why it didn't alarm me. Perhaps if I had been older and had more experience in life, it might have made a difference. It very well could have. Do you ever have reoccurring dreams, sir?
What?
Do you ever have reoccurring dreams?
Yes.
This is a reoccurring dream of mine, sir. All the time. What if I'd told someone about it? I knew about it enough in advance, and perhaps it could have been prevented. I mean, this is something which shakes me up at times.
If Rowland's recollection is accurate, it stands in direct conflict with that of Bonnie Williams, who claimed to have eaten lunch on the same floor at the same time. Williams neither saw nor heard anyone, despite having an unobstructed view down to the southwest corner of the building where Rowland claimed to have seen the gunman. A few minutes later, a different spectator named Howard Brennan spotted a white man pacing to and fro the easternmost window on the 6th floor. At 12:30, the presidential limousine emerged from behind a building and began driving north on Houston. As the car made a sharp left turn at Elm, a high school student named Amos Ewens glanced up at the book depository and caught sight of a protruding metal rod. Few realized what had happened. Was it a firecracker, backfiring motorcycle, or presidential salute? People near the Rowlands even started laughing, perhaps feeling a bit foolish for being frightened by the ostensibly harmless explosion. Standing by the northwest corner of Elm in Houston was James Worrell. He thought the explosion had come from directly overhead. Sure enough, on one of the upper floors, Worrell could see the barrel of a gun. At that moment, a second explosion echoed through Dealey Plaza. Worrell and Ewens witnessed the recoil and muzzle flash of the rifle in concurrence with the sound. Brennan had yet to realize what was happening. He thought a firecracker had been thrown from the Book depository. He looked up, and the man he'd seen pacing only minutes before was now aiming down the sights of a rifle.
It's not known for sure, but it is believed that President Kennedy has been shot.
President Kennedy and Texas Governor John Connally shot by an assassin today in Dallas, Texas.
Brennan could only recall
That's
hearing
scary
2
as hell,
shots,
man.
but his testimony implies he might have heard 3. He confusingly said he saw the gunman fire the last shot, yet denied seeing the discharge of the rifle. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, the rifle was seen by a handful of witnesses as the gunman cautiously withdrew from the window.
The rifle, or what looked like a rifle, was drawn fairly slowly back into the building, and I saw no one in the window with it. I didn't even see a form in the window.
I could see his hand, you know, the rifle laying across his hand. And I could see his hand sticking out on the trigger part. After he got through, he just pulled it back in the window.
He drew the gun back from the window, as though he was drawing it back to his side, and maybe paused for another second, as though to assure himself that he hit his mark, and then he disappeared.
Neither Ewens nor Worrell saw the face of the gunman and could thus offer little to no information regarding his appearance. Arnold was quite some distance away, yet furnished a basic description of the man he'd seen about a quarter of an hour before the shooting, a description that was quite similar to the one provided by Brennan, who got the best look at the gunman. Taken together, these accounts paint a picture of an assassin on the 6th floor of the Book depository, taking aim with a rifle and firing at the president from the sniper's nest. But other accounts leave room for a bit of doubt.
Oswald, 5'9.5", 131 pounds? That man would have been blown off his damn feet from that rifle.
As previously mentioned, Arnold Rowland spotted a white man with a rifle in the westernmost window on the 6th floor about 12:15. But as late as 5 minutes before the shooting,
Yeah, skinny
Arnold
as hell,
observed an
man.
elderly black man leaning out the easternmost window on the same floor. He might have confused the 6th floor with the 5th, where James Jarman, Bonnie Williams, and Harold Norman did indeed lean out the windows. In fact, they were the only black employees known to have watched the motorcade from a floor above the 1st. Except they could hardly be described as elderly. But then, take a listen to this.
Will you
Elderly
describe
or
with as
mature?
much particularity as you can what that man looked like?
It
Did
seemed
you
to be
weigh
an elderly
180?
black man. That is about all.
I mean, I
didn't pay
like
very much
weigh like
attention to him.
165,
This
170
question was
at
then repeated
5'8".
to Arnold a few minutes later, at which
I
point
feel like
his
I'm
answer
kind of
had
small
dramatically
sometimes.
changed.
Not a lot.
He was very thin, an elderly gentleman, bald or practically bald. Very thin hair if he wasn't bald.
Taller than me,
Had on
a
plaid
little bit
shirt.
taller.
I think it was red and green. Very bright color. That is why I remember it.
Significantly lighter.
Can you give us an estimate as to age?
50, possibly 55 or 60.
Can you give us an estimate as to height?
5'8", 5'10", in that neighborhood. He was very slender, very thin.
Can you give us a more definite description as to complexion?
Very dark or fairly dark. Not real dark compared to some black men, but fairly dark. Seemed like his face was either, I can't recall detail, but it was either very wrinkled or marked in some way.
So, in the span of a few minutes, Arnold went from "I didn't pay very much attention" to describing the man's complexion, hair, clothing, age, height, build, and even the blemishes on his face.
Didn't pay very much attention,
Sometimes some people are prone to exaggerate more than others, and without in any way meaning to take away from the testimony of your husband as to what he saw in the building at the time, just from your general experience, do you feel you can rely on everything that your husband says?
I don't feel that I can rely on everything anybody says.
Well,
They were
this is really
married
an
high
unfair
school
question
students?
for me to ask any wife about her husband, and I am not asking it very correctly,
At
but
times, my husband is prone to exaggerate. Does that answer it?
I think it does. Is there anything else you want to add to that, or not?
Usually, his exaggerations are not concerned with anything other than himself. They're usually to boost his ego. They usually say that he is really smarter than he is, or he's a better salesman than he is, something like that.
As leading as that line of questioning was,
Interesting.
Barbara was not
5'11",
alone in
180.
doubting her
That's a
husband's
decent build.
credibility. Officials at 2 separate high schools attended by Arnold explicitly warned authorities not to trust everything he says. He was characterized as someone who would not hesitate to fabricate a story and not tell the truth regarding any matter. Indeed, Roland lied or
Just like, don't
exaggerated
trust
on
this
multiple
dude.
occasions when he testified.
Fair enough.
Another witness who claimed to have seen a gunman in the Book Depository was Carolyn Walter. Shortly before the arrival of the motorcade, Walter had seen a man with blonde or light brown hair in one of these windows on the 4th or 5th floor. She explicitly ruled out the 6th. It should be noted, however, that during the shooting, this window was closed with the blinds down, while this one, as you already know, was occupied by Bonnie Williams and Harold Norman. In any case, the light-haired man seen by Walter was holding a machine gun, and standing beside him was another man wearing a brown suit. Much like Arnold Roland, Walter assumed the gunman was a presidential guard and refrained from telling the police. In fact, there's no evidence she told anyone of what she'd seen, not even the colleague with whom she watched the motorcade. In Walter's defense, 2 other witnesses recalled seeing a man with light or light brown hair on the 5th or 6th floor, except they never saw a weapon nor an accomplice. Disagreements regarding the floors were at least in part due to the ground floor lacking visible windows.
How do you know it was the 6th floor rather than the 5th floor?
I went with the FBI and I showed them the window, and I didn't count the bottom floor.
You mean the first time you gave a statement, you didn't count the bottom floor?
That's right.
Another source of confusion was the distinct visual difference between the 7th floor and the ones below.
When you first glance at the building, you're thrown off a little as to the floors because there's a ridge. It almost looks like a structure added onto the top of the building, about 1 story above. So you have to recount.
Not only that, but multiple witnesses described the 6th floor as the 2nd floor from the top.
as you can see.
But in the
It's hard to
chaos that
resist.
ensued, it seems the tail end of that sentence was not always recorded.
Second floor.
Amos Ewens is another curious witness because even though he never saw the gunman's face, he did see the top of his head. Somehow.
What did you see in the building?
I saw a bald spot on this man's head. Trying to look out the window, he had a bald spot on his head. I was looking at the bald spot.
Oswald did not have a bald spot. He was thinning a bit in the front, but otherwise had a full head of hair. But the strength of Ewan's account is somewhat diminished by his inability to recall much of anything else.
Could you tell whether he was a black gentleman or a white man?
No, sir.
Couldn't even tell that, but you have described that he had a bald
Spot in his head. Yes, sir. I could see the bald spot in his head.
Now, could you tell what color hair he had?
No, sir.
Could you tell whether his hair was dark or light?
No, sir.
Long after the assassination, 15 years to be precise, a journalist working for the Dallas Morning News tracked down a man named Johnny Powell. Powell had supposedly seen 2 men fiddling with a scope on a rifle in the sniper's nest. He described their complexion as darker than white, but that was about it. Once again, one has to wonder if he confused the gunmen with Jarman, Williams, and Norman on the floor below. I mean, after 15 years of silence, there's no telling how Powell's memory could have been distorted. A good example of such distortion is Richard Carr. A few minutes before the shooting, Carr had been standing roughly here when he spotted a man on the 7th floor of the Book Depository, all the way over here.
Ow.
The man was white and wore a hat, glasses, and sport coat. In the immediate aftermath of the shooting, Carr returned to ground level and caught sight of what he believed to be the same man now trotting south on Houston. He made a left turn right about here before being picked up by a station wagon. By 1969, however, Carr's story had notably changed. The man with a sport coat had now been standing on the 5th floor, not the 7th. After the shooting, Mr. Sportcoat had emerged from behind the Book Depository, accompanied by 2 other men. They too had been picked up by a separate station wagon before speeding away. It's unclear how Carr is supposed to have seen all of this, considering what he told the FBI back in '64.
Carr advised that from his location on the steel structure of the new courthouse building, it would have been impossible for him to observe the lower floors and entrance of the book depository, and that from his position he could only see the top floor and the roof.
In Carr's defense, James Worrell had seen a man emerge from the rear entrance of the Book Depository about 3 minutes after the shooting. This man also wore a sport coat and headed south on Houston. Except the man seen by Carr was kinda stocky and wore a hat, while the man seen by Worrell had a slender build and was hatless. Besides, anyone connected with the shooting, leaving via the rear entrance, would surely have headed north, not towards the scene of the crime. As if that was not enough, 2 other witnesses, James Romack and George Rackley, stood roughly here for several minutes after the shooting. Both of them paid special attention to the rear entrance of the building.
Mr. Romack stated that from the time he heard the shots, he had looked toward the book depository and had, under his immediate observation, the loading dock and the back door. He stated he is positive that no one came out of this door or out of the loading dock doors.
What was that?
Could you see the back door of the Texas School Book Depository?
Yes.
Were you looking towards that direction?
Yes, sir.
About how long did you keep your eyes fixed over there?
Oh, I would say 5 minutes anyhow. Probably 10. I was looking up that way at all times.
Did you see any people leave the Texas School Book Depository by way of the rear exit?
No, sir.
Did you see any people running north on Houston Street?
No, sir.
Unfortunately, conflicting accounts were not limited to the Book Depository. Among the hundreds of witnesses in the vicinity of Dealey Plaza, nothing was as disputed as the number and origin of the gunshots.
Governor Conley was holding his stomach.
And the shots were almost simultaneously, weren't they?
Yes, sir. They were probably 10 seconds apart.
Do you know who fired the third shot?
I didn't hear a third. I don't recall a third shot. There may have been. My family hit the ground, and I don't recall a third shot. I just couldn't. I'm not certain of that. I do know I heard 2 shots.
Yeah, I heard 3. I know
You
there were
heard
3.
Well,
yeah, I said to Jerry after the second shot, I said, "My God, those are gunshots."
What's up with the mystery third shot? Good segue.
No one knows exactly how many spectators were in or near Dealey Plaza at the time of the assassination. Well over 200 were at some point questioned by a combination of authorities, journalists, and others. Attempts have been made to consolidate the various accounts, and it's clear from all such attempts that the majority of witnesses heard 3 shots. What's a bit less clear is the source of the explosions. The gunman was either placed in the vicinity of the Book Depository, marked here in red, or an area west of the building, marked in green, known as the Grassy Knoll. But as you can see from these pie charts, the assessment of earwitness testimony is highly susceptible to bias. It's a surprisingly subjective exercise that can lead to widely different results. Nevertheless, there were a substantial number of witnesses who pointed to the Grassy Knoll, located roughly here, and many of them were scattered throughout the plaza. To give you some examples, August Campbell was standing near the front entrance of the Book Depository, yet believed the shots had come from the Grassy Knoll. Meanwhile, Marilyn Sitzman was standing on the Grassy Knoll, yet believed the shots had come from the Book Depository. Standing beside Campbell was a woman named Geraldine Reed, who believed the shots had come from the Book Depository. Standing by the curb in front of Sitzman was William Newman, who believed the shots had come from the Grassy Knoll. One might therefore conclude that there must have been 2 assassins, one in the Book Depository and one on the Grassy Knoll. Indeed, countless authors and even a congressional investigation
Or the sound bounced
have done
off the
precisely
building
that.
is really weird.
Now, the scope of this video is not nearly exhaustive enough for me to attempt any conclusions regarding a second gunman, but I do want to leave you with this. You might have seen these unlabeled blue slices before. Well, that's how many witnesses heard gunshots coming from multiple directions. That is to say, next to no one did. All the shots came either from the east or west, not both.
Mr. Campbell believed the noise came from away from the book depository. This illusion, he explained, may have been due to the sound bouncing off the building and other objects in the vicinity.
August Campbell was far from alone in being deceived by the pronounced echoes of the gunshots.
Where did the noises or shots sound to you like they came from?
It was hard to tell because they had an echo, you know. There was actually 2 explosions with each one. There was the shot and then the echo from it, so it was hard to tell. There was too much reverberation. There was an echo which gave me a sound all over. In other words, that square is it had a sound all over. The sounds came either from up against the school depository building or near the mouth of the triple underpass. I had worked in this watchtower for some 10 or 12 years and was there during the time they were renovating the school depository building, and had noticed at that time the similarity of sounds occurring in either of those two locations. There's a reverberation which takes place from either location.
That's weird.
This auditory illusion was not a fluke. Not only did the buildings surrounding Dealey Plaza act as an echo chamber, but even experienced hunters can struggle to pinpoint the number and origin of gunshots by sound alone. Here's a quote from a book on that very topic, published a few years before the assassination.
Little credence should be put in what anyone says about a shot or even the number of shots. These things coming upon a person suddenly are generally extremely inaccurately recorded in their memory. One of the authors asked one deer hunter last fall how many shots another hunter less than 100 yards away had fired. The answer was 5. Actually, only 2 shots were fired.
Employees in the book depository were no less confused about the gunshots than the spectators outside. To give you some examples, on the first floor, Eddie Piper heard 3 shots that appeared to come from inside the building. On the third floor, Edna Case and Sandra Ellison heard nothing. Meanwhile, Stephen Wilson on the same floor heard 3 shots, came from the west.
They heard nothing?
On the fourth floor, Elsie Dorman, multiple shots came from this building across the street. Victoria Adams, 3 shots from the west. Mary Hollis, 3 shots inside the building. But some employees not only heard the shots, but could literally feel the explosions shake the building.
Could you tell where the shots were coming
Geneva
from?
Hines
Yes, sir.
again?
They came from inside the building.
How do you know that?
Because the building vibrated from the result of the explosion coming in.
Did you know they were shots at the time?
Yes, sir. They sounded almost like cannon shots. They were so terrific.
Much like Geneva Hine on the second floor, Bonnie Williams could feel the explosions up on the 5th. It sounded to Williams as though the shots had been fired from the floor above. His colleague, James Jarman, initially thought the shots had come from somewhere below, but then changed his mind and agreed with Williams. Harold Norman, meanwhile, heard far more than gunshots.
Just after the president passed by, I heard a shot. And several seconds later, I heard 2 more shots. I knew that the shots had come from directly above me, and I could hear the expended cartridges fall to the floor. I could also hear the bolt action of the rifle.
The explosions shook the building, and a piece of loose plaster or dirt was dislodged from the ledge above and struck Williams in the head. Meanwhile, spectators on the streets below could see them leaning out the windows, looking up at the 6th floor.
I just looked straight up ahead of me, which would have been looking at the school book depository, and I noticed 2 black men in a window, straining to see directly above them, and my eyes followed right up to the window above them, and I saw the rifle, or what looked like a rifle.
Frightened and somewhat entranced by the pandemonium outside, the 3 men remained on the 5th floor for several minutes. Meanwhile, the apparent assassin upstairs was now in a race against time.
Did you hear anything upstairs at all?
No, sir. I didn't hear anything.
Any footsteps?
No, sir. Probably. The reason we didn't hear anything is because, after the shots, we were running too, and that was making a louder noise.
Why didn't you go up to the 6th floor?
I really don't know.
There's a guy with a gun up there.
Maybe it's because we were frightened.
There's a guy with a gun up there. I ain't going up there. I'm getting the hell out.
When the shooting began, motorcycle policeman Marion Baker had just made a right turn from Main Street to Houston. Baker recognized the explosions as gunfire and could see a flock of pigeons fluttering above 2 buildings further up ahead. Baker made a split-second decision and headed for the book depository. Once inside, he was greeted by Roy Truly. Truly directed Baker to the elevators, but neither was available. He pressed the button while shouting up the elevator shaft for someone upstairs to close the gate. No response. Instead, they began running up the stairs.
As I came out to the 2nd floor there, Mr. Truly was ahead of me, and as I come out, I was kind of scanning, the rooms. and I caught a glimpse of this man walking away from this. I happened to see him through this window in this door. I don't know how come I saw him, but I had a glimpse of him coming down there.
Where was he coming from, do you know?
No, sir. All I seen of him was a glimpse of him go away from me.
What did you do?
I hollered at him at that time and said, "Come here." He turned and walked right straight back to me.
What did you say to him?
I didn't get anything out of him. Mr. Truly had come up to my side here, and I turned to Mr. Truly and I says, "Do you know this man? Does he work here?" And he said, "Yes." And I turned immediately and went on out up the stairs.
The man whom Baker and Truly encountered in the second floor lunchroom was none other than Lee Harvey Oswald. The encounter was brief, lasting no more than 30 seconds. Oswald appeared calm and failed to evoke suspicion, so Truly and Baker left him in the lunchroom and proceeded up the stairs. They spent some time searching the roof, but there was no assassin to be found. Down by the main entrance, Geraldine Reed was still trying to process what had just occurred. She decided to return to her office on the second floor of the building. Here, about 2 minutes after the shooting, Reed became the last known person to have seen Oswald inside the book depository.
I kept walking and I looked up and Oswald was coming in the back door of the office. I met him by the time I passed my desk by several feet, and I told him, I said, "Oh, the president has been shot, but maybe they didn't hit him." He mumbled something to me. I kept walking. He did too. I didn't pay any attention to what he said because I had no thoughts of him having any connection with the shooting at all, because he was very calm.
Oswald is then presumed to have taken the front stairs and, on his way out the main entrance, encountered someone looking for a phone. There are at least 2 candidates for who this person might have been, but Oswald seems to have pointed out the phone inside the building before blending into the chaos outside. He was next observed boarding a bus a few blocks east on Elm.
I'll be right back.
Nearly 4 months after the assassination, Truly and Baker participated in a crude reconstruction of the shooting to time their movements. The experiment was repeated twice. On the first attempt, it took them 1 minute and 30 seconds to reach the second floor lunchroom. Then 1 minute and 15 seconds. These time trials were primarily conducted to determine whether Oswald could have fired the shots from the 6th floor and still made it down to the second in time for his encounter with Truly and Baker. After all, if there wasn't enough time, Oswald could not have been the assassin. A bunch of different routes were tested, and while Oswald could theoretically have taken one of the elevators or even the fire escape, in practice there wasn't enough time.
You do not think the assassin used any of the elevators at any time to get from the 6th to the 2nd floor?
You mean after the shooting? No, sir. He just could not, because those elevators, I saw myself, were both on the 5th floor. They were both even.
The only other means of descent was the stairway. A stand-in for the gunman trotted down from the 6th floor to the 2nd in 1 minute and 18 seconds. Then, at a slightly faster pace, in 1 minute and 14 seconds. There was just enough time. It's therefore possible that Oswald stopped on the 2nd floor, perhaps upon hearing Truly shouting up the elevator shaft, and attempted to hide in the lunchroom mere seconds ahead of Truly and Baker's arrival. But it's not quite that simple, because Oswald was not the only person using the stairway to escape the building. As previously mentioned, Victoria Adams watched a motorcade from an office on the 4th floor of the book depository. Within 30 seconds of the shooting, Adams ran down the stairs to the 1st floor along with her colleague, Sandra Stiles.
When you got to the bottom of the 1st floor, did you see anyone there as you entered the 1st floor from the stairway?
Yes, sir.
Who did you see?
Mr. William Shelley and Billy Lovelady.
Now, what did you do after you encountered Mr. Shelley and Mr. Lovelady?
I said I believed the president was shot.
Do you remember what they said?
Nothing.
Then what did you do?
I proceeded out to the Houston Street dock.
There are 2 significant problems with Adams' account. The first being that she and Stiles supposedly left the 4th floor within 30 seconds of the shooting and then ran down the stairs to the 1st. This would place them in approximate sync with Oswald, descending from the 6th floor to the 2nd.
Now, as you were running down the stairs, did you encounter anyone?
Not during the actual running down the stairs. No, sir.
Did you hear anyone using the stairs?
No, sir.
But okay, perhaps Oswald was a few flights above, and his footsteps were drowned out by their own. This would mean that Stiles and Adams left the 4th floor mere seconds ahead of Oswald's arrival, reached the ground floor mere seconds ahead of Roy Truly and Marion Baker's ascent, before encountering William Shelley and Billy Lovelady right about here. But this is when problem number 2 makes an entrance. When the president was shot, Shelley and Lovelady stood on the front steps of the book depository. They spent several minutes roaming about outside before returning to the building. And that's the problem. How did Stiles and Adams encounter Shelley and Lovelady within seconds of the shooting if it took them several minutes to return to the building?
Who did you see on the 1st floor after returning to the book depository?
I saw a girl, but I wouldn't swear to it. It's Vicky.
What is her full name?
I wouldn't know.
Vicky Adams?
I believe so.
Would you say it was Vicky you saw?
I couldn't swear.
Where was the girl?
I don't remember what place she was, but I remember seeing a girl and she was talking to Shelley or saw Shelley or something.
Shelley could recall no such incident. Presuming that Lovelady was correct and Shelley had a lapse of memory, it's possible their encounter with Stiles and Adams occurred minutes rather than seconds after the shooting. After all, Adams could have been mistaken. This scenario implies that Oswald made his escape, Truly and Baker went upstairs, and then several minutes later, Stiles and Adams left the building. But it's not quite that simple. Watching the motorcade alongside Stiles and Adams was their supervisor, Dorothy Garner.
Miss Garner stated
Why
this
is it
morning
so
that
confusing?
after Miss Adams went downstairs, Miss Garner, saw Mr. Truly and the policeman come up.
Not only does this account corroborate that of Adams, meaning they left within seconds, not minutes, but it implies that Garner was in a position to observe the stairway from somewhere on the 4th floor. In spite of this, Garner made no mention of seeing Oswald scampering down the stairs between Stiles and Adams' departure and Truly and Baker's arrival. What makes this conflict so difficult to resolve is that neither Stiles nor Garner were called to testify. We have but a few brief statements of what they witnessed. All we know about Sandra Stiles is that she went down the stairs with Adams. Did it happen within seconds of the shooting? We don't know. Did she see or hear anyone else while running down the stairs? We don't know. Did she encounter Shelley and Lovelady on the 1st floor? We don't know. Authorities appear to have presumed Adams unreliable and then ignored the witnesses who could have easily refuted or confirmed that presumption. A simple reenactment like the one granted Truly and Baker could have gone a long way to resolve this issue. But that never happened. Many decades after the assassination, author Barry Ernest was able to track down Sandra Stiles, Dorothy Garner, and Victoria Adams. Stiles confirmed that she and Adams left the window within seconds of the shooting, but he doesn't explicitly say they left the
somebody wrote
floor
a book
within seconds. In any case, as
these
they
girls on the
moved quickly
stairs?
down the stairs, she heard no footfall apart from their own. Garner confirmed she never witnessed the descent of Oswald, despite seeing Truly and Baker heading upstairs. Adams went a bit further and accused investigators of tampering with their testimony.
I'm beginning to wonder if the Shelley and Lovelady encounter was inserted into my testimony later. I remember saying to a fairly big black man inside the building, right near the loading dock, right after I got down the stairs, that I thought the president may have been shot.
Sandra Stiles apparently told Ernest something similar.
A few people were milling around on the 1st floor. One was a black man. Shelley and Lovelady were definitely not on the 1st floor when we got there.
The only black employees who could have possibly made it to the rear stairway in time were Carl Jones, Roy Lewis, Eddie Piper, and Troy West. What you see here are their approximate positions at the time of the shooting, but during the seconds and minutes that followed, only Piper is known to have paid any attention to the stairs in the back. As soon as the shooting began, Piper crossed the 1st floor to get a better view of a clock. He remained in roughly this location until he observed Truly and Baker running up the stairs.
Had anybody come down the steps before Truly and Baker went up the steps?
No, sir.
Did Vicky Adams come down before Truly and Baker went up the steps?
No, sir. No, sir. She didn't do it.
Remember James Romack and George Rackley? I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you don't, there's like 100 different names to keep track of, but they were the ones who failed to spot anyone leaving the book depository via the rear entrance for several minutes after the shooting.
It's alright if you don't.
Well, the thing is, according to both Stiles and Adams, they left the book depository via the rear entrance upon reaching the first floor. So if Romack and Rackley are to be believed, then once again, the descent of Stiles and Adams must have taken place minutes rather than seconds after the shooting. Not only that, but when Sandra Stiles was contacted by another researcher, she apparently expressed great uncertainty regarding the stairwell descent and thought it might in fact have occurred a couple of minutes after the shooting.
Everybody's mind got
I
so
don't
fucked.
know what to make of all this. The conspiracy crowd will, of course, amplify the more suspicious elements, while those who support the official narrative will focus on that which discredits Adams. But ultimately, we don't know the exact timeline of events. It's difficult enough to pin down the minute-by-minute chronology. Once you get down to seconds, there's a lot of guesswork at play. The time trials by Truly and Baker gives us a rough estimate, but that's not cast in stone. They could have easily been a bit faster, a bit slower. So too could have Shelley, Lovelady, Garner, Stiles, Adams, and Oswald.
Would you say that the reconstruction that we did on March the 20th was a minimum or a maximum time?
Oh, I would say that would be the minimum time. We did everything that I did that day, and this would be the minimum time, because I'm sure that it took me a little longer.
I must also mention that we don't know much about the layout of the fourth floor beyond this crude schematic. If the other floors are any indication, much of this space was occupied by bookshelves and tall stacks of boxes. This is significant because Dorothy Garner never actually saw Stiles and Adams enter the stairway. She only heard footsteps of what she presumed to be them running down the stairs. Following a quick sweep of the roof, Roy Truly and Marion Baker returned to the ground floor of the book depository.
What did you do when you got back to the first floor, or what did you see?
When I got back to the first floor, at first I didn't see anything except officers running around, reporters in the place. There was a regular madhouse.
Had they sealed off the building yet, do you know?
I am sure they had.
Then what?
Then, in a few minutes, it could have been moments or minutes at a time like that, I noticed some of my boys were over in the west corner of the shipping department, and there were several officers over there taking their names and addresses and so forth. I noticed that Lee Oswald was not among these boys.
Oswald was not the only absentee, but he was the only one whom Truly knew for a fact had left the building after the shooting. Meanwhile, on the 6th floor, a stack of boxes in the southeast corner attracted the attention of Deputy Luke Mooney.
I went straight across to the
Luke
southeast
Mooney.
corner of the building,
That's
and
a
I saw
detective
these
name.
high boxes.
Mooney.
And the minute I squeezed between these two stacks of boxes, I had to turn myself sideways to get in there. That is when I saw the expended shells, and the boxes that were stacked up looked to be a rest for the weapon.
2 windows west of the sniper's nest, authorities found a bottle of Dr. Pepper and some chicken bones, leftovers from the lunch eaten by Bonnie Williams shortly before the assassination. But according to some officers, including Mooney, remains of a similar meal were also found in the sniper's nest.
Does this photograph show any place where you saw the chicken bone?
If I recall correctly, the chicken bone could have been laying on this box, or it might have been laying on this box right here. There was one of them partially eaten, and there was a little small paper poke.
By poke, you mean a paper sack?
Right. The assassin could just maybe take one step and lay it over there, if he was the one that put it there.
In spite of this, no such items were ever photographed. Apart from the sack of chicken bones found here, there are no records of leftovers being recovered from anywhere else near the sniper's nest.
Now, did you see a chicken bone over near the boxes in the southeast corner?
I don't believe there was one there.
You didn't see any. One witness, a deputy sheriff named Luke Mooney, said he found a piece of chicken partly eaten on top of one of the boxes. Did you see anything like that?
No.
Was anything like that called to your attention?
I can't recall anything like that.
But it wasn't just the chicken bones. There were similar disagreements regarding the 3 cartridge cases. According to Mooney, Dallas Police Captain William Fritz tampered with the evidence.
Are those the empty shells you found?
Yes, sir.
Now, will you take this marker and encircle the shells?
All right.
They were turned over to Captain Fritz?
Yes, sir. He was the first officer that picked them up, as far as I know, because I stood there and watched him go over and pick them up and look at them.
Is this the position of the cartridges, as shown in this photograph, as you saw them?
Yes, sir. That is just about the way they were laying, to the best of my knowledge. I do know there was one further away, and these other two were relatively close to each other on this particular area. But these cartridges, this one and this one, looks like they are further apart than they actually was.
Now, I didn't quite understand. Did you say that it was your memory that A and B were not that close together?
Just from my memory, it seems that this cartridge ought to have been over this way a little further.
You mean the B cartridge should be closer to the C?
Closer to the C, yes, sir.
Mooney did not explicitly state, but strongly implied that Captain Fritz moved at least one of the cartridge cases before they were photographed. According to Fritz, he did everything by the book.
I told him not to move the cartridges, not to touch anything till we could get the crime lab to take pictures of them, just as they were lying there. And I left an officer assigned there to see that that was done. And the crime lab came almost immediately and took pictures and dusted the shells for prints.
Amidst the swarm of officers canvassing the 6th floor was a lone journalist by the name of Thomas Ollier. Ollier was equipped with a camera and actually filmed much of the frantic search effort. About 3 decades later, Ollier made some rather startling claims that were largely consistent with, but also expanded upon those made by Mooney.
After filming the casings, I asked Captain Fritz, who was standing at my side, if I could go behind the barricade and get a close-up shot of the casings. He told me that it would be better if I got my shots from outside the barricade. He then rounded the pile of boxes and entered the enclosure. This was the first time anybody walked between the barricade and the windows. Fritz then walked to the casings, picked them up, and held them in his hand over the top of the boxes for me to get a close-up shot of the evidence. I filmed about 8 seconds of a close-up shot of the shell casings in Captain Fritz's hand.
While these alleged portions of Ollier's film have never surfaced, preservation took a back seat while the film was being prepared for broadcast. Portions of the film were carelessly chopped up and discarded, and fragmentary clips are all that remains today. In any case, after supposedly filming the casings in the hand of Captain Fritz, Ollier recalled how they were deceitfully returned to the floor.
Over 30 minutes later, Captain Fritz reached into his pocket and handed the casings to Detective Robert Studebaker. Studebaker never saw the original placement of the casings, so he tossed them on the floor and photographed them.
To counterbalance these allegations of foul play, I must also mention that there were those who found nothing amiss about the cartridge cases.
Did you see a picture taken of the hulls?
Sims, not as interesting
when
of a
the picture was
detective
taken, were the hulls in the same
got
position as when you
Studebaker
had first
and
seen
Mooney?
them?
Yes, sir, they were.
Even Mooney
Sims
sort
just
of
ain't it.
agreed that the casings had not been moved, immediately after explaining that they had been moved. In the testimony we heard a few minutes ago, Mooney was shown this photograph. He then examined this one, taken from a different angle, before being shown this one. Now, these two are just differently cropped copies of the same photograph.
I have another picture. Here is a picture taken, also from another angle. Does that show the cartridges?
Yes, sir.
Now, compare that with the other photograph.
Yes, sir.
Is that about the way it looked?
Yes, sir. That is right. It sure is.
That
Quite
doesn't
the
really
detective.
gel with the casing supposedly being picked up and haphazardly tossed back on the floor, as Thomas Ollier would claim decades later. While there are question marks surrounding the chicken bones and cartridge cases, there can be no doubt that some of the boxes in the sniper's nest were moved prior to being photographed.
Do you have any pictures of the boxes near the window before they were moved, other than those you have showed me?
Just these two.
Then you don't have any pictures taken of the boxes before they were moved?
No.
Now, I will show you another picture. Was that taken by you?
Yes.
Does that show the position of the boxes before or after they were moved?
That's after they were dusted. There's fingerprint dust on every box.
And they were not in that position then when you first saw them?
No.
Several minutes after the sniper's nest was discovered, a bolt-action rifle was found between 2 rows of boxes near the stairway. Now, there was some initial confusion regarding its make and model. Some thought it looked like a Mauser, but upon closer inspection it was identified as an Italian Carcano. The officer who misidentified the rifle later explained that he did so at a glance. However, over a decade after the assassination in 1976, a former deputy sheriff by the name of Roger Craig claimed to have seen the marking 7.65 Mauser stamped right on the barrel of the rifle. To some, this is evidence that a Mauser was in fact discovered on the 6th floor before being swapped for a Carcano. But Craig was the only person to make this specific claim, did so many years after the assassination, and after telling a journalist the following.
Did you handle that rifle on the 6th floor?
Yes, I did. I couldn't give its name because I don't know foreign rifles. I know it was foreign made, and you loaded it downward into a built-in clip. But there was another rifle, a Mauser, found up on the roof of the depository that afternoon.
There were no reports of a Mauser being found on the roof either. Besides, the only rifle
Craig.
seen in the film taken by Thomas Ollier is unmistakably a Carcano. Unique markings on the cartridge cases would later prove that this was indeed the rifle from which all three had been fired. Before the day was over, the rifle had been traced to a company in Chicago, Illinois. The company had sold the rifle to someone named A. Hiddell and shipped it to a post office box in Dallas in early 1963. Alec James Hiddell was a pseudonym known to have been used by Oswald. So there was now a direct link between the shells, the rifle, and Oswald. Not only that, but Oswald's prints were lifted from both the rifle and boxes in the sniper's nest. Apart from the spent shells and the rifle, authorities discovered one other key piece of evidence.
Did you find anything else up in the southeast corner of the 6th floor?
Yes, sir. We found this brown paper sack, or case. It was made out of heavy wrapping paper. Actually, it looked similar to the paper that those books in the building was wrapped in. It was just a long, narrow paper bag.
The bag was alleged to have been found here, yet this space is suspiciously empty in all the crime scene photographs.
How long was the paper bag, approximately?
I don't know. I picked it up and dusted it for prints, and they took it down there and sent it to Washington. And that's the last I'd seen of it, and I don't know.
Did you take a picture of it before you picked it up?
No.
Does that sack show in any of the pictures you took?
No, it doesn't show in any of the pictures.
Insane
Detective Robert
work.
Studebaker, who had been working as a forensic assistant for less than 2 months, neglected to explain why he never photographed the bag. In Studebaker's defense, no one was on the lookout for a brown paper bag. Assassin, sure, rifle, casings, absolutely, but some debris in a dark-lit corner of the room. It wasn't until the bag was picked up and inspected that its significance became apparent.
Do you remember anything about what the sack looked like?
Well, it was assumed at the time that it was the sack that the rifle was wrapped up in when it was brought into the building, and it appeared that it could have been used for that.
Now, as you may recall, Wesley Frazier drove Oswald back to Irving on November 21st to pick up some curtain rods. The following morning, Oswald was seen carrying a package by both Frazier and his sister, Linnie Randall. According to Frazier, Oswald told him the package contained curtain rods, which he then brought back to Dallas. But you may also recall that Jack Doherty denied seeing such a package.
Did you see Oswald come to work that morning?
Yes, when he first came into the door.
Did he have anything in his hands or arms?
Well, not that I could see of.
The thing is, Doherty was not a reliable witness. When questioned by the FBI and Secret Service, he appeared very confused about times and places. He required assistance from his father due to considerable difficulty in coordinating his mental faculties with his speech. While Doherty denied having such issues, his testimony is nonetheless riddled with contradictions.
Wait a minute, did you go to lunch?
Well, I went back downstairs to eat lunch. Yes, sir.
What time?
Oh, it was 12 o'clock.
Wait a minute, did you hear the shots before or after your lunch?
Before I ate my lunch.
You heard shots before you ate your lunch?
Let's see. Yes, I believe I did.
Now, did you hear a shot either before or after lunch?
It was before lunch. It was before lunch.
You think it was before lunch you heard the shot?
I believe it was. Yes, sir.
While Doherty insisted that Oswald had nothing in his hands when he arrived at work, it turned out that this certitude was based on nothing but a glance.
Right. Now, is that a very definite impression that you saw Oswald that morning when he came to work?
Well, it's like this. I'll try to explain it to you this way. You see, I was sitting on the wrapping table, and when he came in the door, I just caught him out of the corner of my eye.
Given that Fraser had eyes on Oswald for several minutes, the weight of evidence suggests he carried a package to work on the morning of November the 22nd. A far more contentious question is whether the package carried by Oswald was the same as the brown paper bag discovered on the 6th floor. According to both Randall and Fraser, the only two witnesses known to have seen the package, the answer was a definite no.
Now, was the length of the package any similar to the bag? Anywhere near similar?
Well, it wasn't that long. I mean, it was folded down at the top, as I told you. It definitely wasn't that long.
I told the FBI that as far as the length of the bag, I told them that was entirely too long.
Their main source of contention was that the package carried by Oswald was shorter than the brown paper bag. The bag was just long enough to store the rifle in its disassembled state, so if the package carried by Oswald was much shorter, then it could not have contained the rifle. Except Randall saw it briefly at a distance through a window.
Oh my god.
While Fraser never paid it much attention.
People are not
Did
reliable
it
at all.
look to you as if there was something heavy in the package?
Well, I'll be frank with you, I didn't pay much attention to the package.
In fact, the length of the package seemed about as certain to Fraser as his lack of attention to it.
I didn't pay much attention. I didn't pay too much attention. I didn't pay any attention to it. I didn't pay much attention to the package. I didn't look at the package very much. Like I say, I didn't pay that much attention to it. I didn't pay too much attention to how he carried the package at all.
The tape and paper with which the brown paper bag had been constructed matched the tape and paper used to wrap books for shipping on the first floor of the Book Depository. Not only that, but a fingerprint and palm print matching that of Oswald were also found on the bag. In spite of all this, some authors refused to accept that the brown paper bag and the package carried by Oswald were one and the same. Instead, the argument tends to be that the bag was fabricated by authorities in an effort to frame Oswald. But you then have to square that against no curtain rods being found inside the Book Depository, Oswald already having curtains in his rented room in Dallas, him failing to obtain permission from his landlady to redecorate, him supposedly being in such urgent need of curtain rods that he just had to return to Irving on Thursday instead of waiting just one more day, him neglecting to mention anything about curtain rods to his wife and Ruth Payne upon his arrival, and that's despite the fact that Payne actually had some spare curtain rods in her garage. The same garage where Oswald stored his rifle.
How did you learn of the shooting of President Kennedy?
I was watching television and Ruth said someone had shot at the president.
What did you say?
It was hard for me to say anything. We both turned pale. I went to my room and cried.
Did you think immediately that your husband might have been involved?
No.
Did Mrs. Payne say anything about the possibility of your husband being involved?
No, but she only said that, by the way, they fired from the building in which Lee is working. My heart dropped. I then went to the garage to see whether the rifle was there, and I saw that the blanket was still there, and I said, thank God.
Did you look in the blanket to see if the rifle was there?
I didn't unroll the blanket. It was in its usual position, and it appeared to have something inside.
When did you learn that the rifle was not in the blanket?
When the police arrived and asked whether my husband had a rifle, and I said yes.
Then what happened?
They began to search the apartment. When they
What
came
the
to the
fuck is
garage
this?
and took the blanket, I thought, well, now they will find it.
A 1 hour, 40-minute long video on the Kennedy assassination.
They opened the blanket, but there was no rifle there.
There is an astounding amount of incompetence
Around the
among
time
all the
of the
people
rifle's
involved.
discovery on the 6th
It's
floor
insane.
of the Book Depository, Captain William Fritz was appraised of Oswald's absence. Fritz immediately left the building and returned to police headquarters.
We were standing in the hallway when Captain Fritz walked in. He walked up to my colleagues and made the statement to
Resident
them, go
sleeper.
get a
Hey,
search
look, if you
warrant
don't like
and
it,
pick
you
up a
can-
man named Lee Oswald. And I
I'm
asked
kind
the
of invested
captain
at
why
the
he
moment.
wanted him, and he said, well, he was employed down at the Book Depository, and he had not been present for a roll call of employees. And we said, Captain, we will save you a trip, because there he sits.
alibis.
After escaping the book depository, Oswald boarded a bus right about here. But the assassination ground traffic to a halt, so Oswald soon left the bus and hailed a cab. After returning to his rooming house in Oak Cliff, a neighborhood in southwestern Dallas, Oswald changed his clothes, grabbed a gun, and left in a hurry.
78. 78. You are in the Oak Cliff area, are you not? Langston Road. You will be at large. Brigham Mercy comes in. 10-4.
Police patrolman J.D. Tippett encountered Oswald some 45 minutes after the shooting, a bit further south, right about here.
Oh, I
As
slightly
soon as
touched
Tippett
my
stepped out of the
microphone, so it
vehicle,
unplugged.
Oswald drew his gun and fired 4 shots in rapid succession.
Hello, police operator. Go ahead, it says news. Hello, we've had a shooting out here. Where is it at? Between Marsalis and Buckley. It's a police officer. Somebody shot him. What's it? 404 10th Street. 78. It's in a police car. Notify one that the officer involved in the shooting, which is Officer J.D. Tippett, we believe, was pronounced DOA at Methodist 128. Well, any indication that it has any connection with this other shooting? Well, the descriptions on the suspects are similar. It is possible.
Oswald was then caught sneaking into a nearby movie theater without purchasing a ticket.
Spam information that a suspect just went in the Texas theater on West Jefferson. Temple.
A large contingent of officers descended upon the theater. They surrounded the building, switched on the lights, and approached the suspect. Flanked by officers, Oswald drew a gun and a brief scuffle ensued. But this time he was quickly subdued, handcuffed, and taken to police headquarters back in downtown Dallas. Over the next 2 days, between his arrest and untimely death, Lee Harvey Oswald was interrogated by members of the Dallas Police, FBI, Secret Service, among others. None of it was recorded.
Did you have any tape recorders?
No, sir. I don't have a tape recorder. We need one. If we had one at this time, we could have handled these conversations far better.
The Dallas Police Department doesn't have one.
No, sir. I have requested one several times, but so far,
How is
they
it
haven't
even
got me
possible?
one.
So, no one knows exactly what was said inside this room. Instead, we have to settle for the cliff notes. And of especial interest to us is Oswald's alibi.
These people have given me a hearing without legal representation or anything.
Did you shoot the president?
I didn't shoot anybody, no, sir.
You just heard Oswald, who said he did not shoot anybody.
Oswald vehemently denied any involvement in the assassination. Instead, he claimed to have eaten lunch with 2 co-workers on the first floor of the book depository. One of them was a black co-worker whose name Oswald could not recall. The other was James Jarman.
Were you with anybody when you were walking around on the first floor finishing your sandwich?
No, I wasn't. I was trying to get through so I could get out on the street.
Did you see Lee Oswald?
No, I didn't.
After his arrest, he stated to a police officer that he had had lunch with you. Did you have lunch with him?
No, sir, I didn't.
But according to another interrogator, Oswald's claim was not to have eaten lunch with Jarman and this unnamed co-worker, but merely that he saw them pass through the lunchroom while he was eating.
Oswald stated that he had eaten lunch in the lunchroom at the Texas School Book Depository alone, but recalled possibly 2 black employees walking through the room during this period. He stated possibly one of these employees was called Junior, and the other was a short individual whose name he could not recall, but whom he would be able to recognize.
So, according to this version of events, Oswald's alibi was that he possibly saw 2 co-workers, one whose name he could not recall, enter and traverse the lunchroom, together or separately, during an unspecified period of time. Whether Oswald claimed to have eaten lunch with or in proximity of his colleagues, it makes no difference because neither alibi could be substantiated. Instead, James Jarman had last seen Oswald taking an elevator upstairs sometime between 11:30 and 12 o'clock. William Shelley and Eddie Piper had last seen Oswald roaming about the first floor around noon, at which time Oswald had told Piper that he was either going out or going up to eat lunch. Then there's the account of Charles Givens. You may recall that Givens is officially recognized as the last person inside the book depository known to have seen Oswald before the assassination. Their encounter was fixed at 11:55 and is supposed to have taken place on the 6th floor. But prior to relating this version of events, Givens had reportedly told the FBI that he saw Oswald on the first floor at 11:50, a statement which he later denied ever making. Either way, Oswald being on the first floor at noon does absolutely nothing to prevent him from being on the 6th half an hour later. Unless Carolyn Arnold is to be believed.
As Mrs. Arnold was standing in front of the building, she stated she thought she caught a fleeting glimpse of Lee Harvey Oswald standing in the hallway between the front door and the double doors leading to the warehouse located on the first floor. She could not be sure that this was Oswald, but she said she felt it was and believed the time to be a few minutes before 12:15 p.m.
My God.
So that would be about here. In a subsequent statement, Arnold claimed to have gone outside as late as 12:25, thereby pushing the time of her potential ground floor sighting of Oswald as close as 5 minutes before the shooting. Putting aside the fact that her observation was described as a fleeting glimpse and that she could not be certain of the man's identity,
that's what I'm starting to learn.
Arnold herself will later deny it ever
Interest
happened.
anything.
That is completely foreign to me. It would have forced me to have been turning back around to the building when, in fact, I was trying to watch the parade. Why would I be looking back inside the building? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Instead, Arnold claimed that this encounter had actually taken place in the second floor lunchroom.
I do not recall that Oswald was doing anything. I just recall that he was sitting there in one of the booth seats on the right-hand side of the room as you go in. He was alone, as usual, and appeared to be having lunch. I did not speak to him, but I recognized him clearly.
The problem with both of these accounts is that none of her colleagues reported anything remotely similar. Whether it was the first or second floor, Oswald was apparently invisible to everyone but Arnold. Besides, it took Arnold 15 years to relate her revised version of events. Not ideal for such a time-sensitive issue. That being said, depending on what conspiracy theory you're willing to entertain, there are ways to interpret what Oswald told his interrogators so that it aligns with either one of Arnold's accounts. Take this.
All right. I'm done. Straight up, I know we're almost to the end, but my God, I'm so tired of like, well, you know, actually, I think I saw him at this time. It's like, oh, you think? You think? Everybody, just no corroboration at all. Nobody has any idea what happened. And a lot of people just like to talk. And so you don't know what to believe. And so that's why there's a million different conspiracy theories about it. But then again, there's a little bit of, you know, something to the conspiracy theories. But seriously, oh my God. Yeah, I have to stop. I just have to. Let me see if there's anything a little bit more short. Watch some Tom Scott videos. Come on, Tom Scott. What do you got for me?
I've got to admit to a little bit of a lie. If you saw last week's video about grizzly bear product testing, the bit about the camera seemed pretty simple. I stuck a GoPro on top of the trash can, it got knocked away at some point when the bear turned the can over, it stopped recording, and then later the bear picked it up, chewed on it a bit, and then dropped it in a pond. And obviously I was able to recover it because the footage from that camera is in the video. Yeah, okay, that's not what actually happened. It's how my editor and I chose to tell the story because the reality was a bit more complicated and it wasn't relevant to the main point, so we simplified it. There were actually 2 GoPros. The first was on top of the trash can. It really did get knocked off. It recorded for about 30 minutes before overheating, which honestly was far longer than I thought it would, given it was in a big protective case in direct summer sunlight in high temperatures. It did its job, and once the bears had gone back into their den, I just picked it up off the floor. The other GoPro was inside the trash can. It got knocked out of the can, and that was the one that the bear carried off, chewed on, and dropped in the pond. I assumed it was unrecoverable, that it had been crushed, and besides, that pond is filled with debris from the bears, so it couldn't easily be found, even if we could somehow dredge the pond. But the team at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center did find it just a couple of days ago, as I recall this, when they drained the pond for scheduled cleaning. I was back in Europe by this point, but they posted it to a friend of mine, Karen, from the channel Karen Puzzles. She does videos about jigsaw puzzling. It's a really good channel. While the big protective case had been broken, it was a write-off. The camera itself was mostly in one piece, albeit a bit damp and with a shattered screen.
Dude, I have that camera.
Card
Oh my
on it
god,
was
sick.
still good, and there is so much incredible footage that it really does deserve its own video, and this is that video. To start off, there's this shot of Randy filling up the trash can and closing it, which honestly feels a bit sinister from that point of view, like mafia movie Last Thing the Victim Sees vibes there. Anyway, the trash can gets rolled out, and a few minutes later, the bear approaches, pulls it on its side, and starts what they call CPR behavior to try and crack it open. The bear's going to turn the can over again now, so keep an eye out for the shadow of the claws that looks like something out of a horror movie.
Oh.
The sticky pad that's holding the GoPro in place is somehow still working as the bear rips the can open. It won't hold for long. Just going to give you a slow motion shot of those claws. This is not a cute and cuddly creature. This is a wild animal that can tear you apart. That's not a metaphor. Literally, a bear can tear a person apart. Do I need to say don't try this in the wild?
Very scary.
Like, that's the whole message of the first video. Don't try to get footage like this. Do not risk making a wild bear even slightly more used to humans.
Do not get into a trash can.
Okay, this continues for quite a while as the bear keeps rotating the can.
With
so
a
I'm gonna
bunch of
skip
tasty
forward.
stuff
the
that a
sticky
bear
pad
would want.
finally fails,
Got
so
it.
the camera rolls around
Got
and
it.
gets covered in peanut butter and honey, which will be important shortly. For a while, the camera's not looking anywhere useful, and then about 10 minutes later, the bear finally gets the can all the way open and gets its food reward. Eventually, the bear spots that the camera has some peanut butter and honey on it, and so...
It's a little bit less terrifying when it's like, you know,
now the bear's not
tearing
stupid.
through
It's not going to eat
the
a lump
can.
of plastic like a camera. The worst case I could think of would be if it chomped down and punctured the camera battery, but even then it would just spit it out. No one at the centre was worried about the bears. Anyway, after that, the camera finally overheats and turns itself off. Job done. A few minutes later, the bear carries it off to play with it in the pond. Now, I knew the camera had overheated, which is why I said this. Sadly, definitely not recording anymore. But I was using the GoPro app on my phone, trying to turn the camera back on, and it kept showing weird error messages. So that's why I figured it had been crushed or otherwise damaged somehow, and it was a write-off. Well, it wasn't. It was fine. The protective case had held. A few minutes after it got dropped into the pond, something hit the shutter button, and the camera had cooled down enough that it turned back on and recorded half an hour of murky water and bubbles before finally running out of battery. But that's not the last file on the memory card, because if you let the camera rest for a while, it might have just enough battery to record a couple minutes more. And that is the selfie. It's very close up and it's accidental, but that is a selfie. Here's a slow motion replay of that one horrible shot of the mouth. According to the timestamps on the video, that's 5 hours later. Checking against the centre's schedule, that means it's probably the same bear, remembering the camera in the bottom of the pond, picking it out, playing with it for a while, and somehow managing to push the shutter button, and then dropping it back in the pond. And then, 4 hours after that, one more file on the memory card. No idea which bear that is, just a few seconds of footage of claws and the protective case coming off with the last gasp of the battery, which is probably where the camera actually got broken. And I've realised something. Those final shots, just the last 2 video files from in the pond, that footage was entirely created by bears, accidentally. I didn't set up the camera, I didn't start it rolling, I had zero input into that footage. And so I'm pretty sure that for just those specific shots, just that final bit in the pond, I don't have copyright over that. That's public domain. The bear made that on its own, which is frustrating. I think I could probably make a lot of money licensing that, but instead I've uploaded the raw files to the Internet Archive. The link is in the description. And if you do use that in your own work, it'd be nice if you'd make a donation to the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Centre, because they've got bears to feed. And as for the GoPro, the screen is a bit cracked. It needed drying out, but it survived.
That is the most shocking part of that. The GoPro is not entirely destroyed. I mean, that's all right. Let me see. I mean, okay, tonight I did want to hop on FiveM and do like the GTA character creation kind of thing. But like, as you can probably see, am like gleaning sweat all over me. It's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. I don't know if I want to play anything. I kind of just want to... Yeah, I might just call... Should I play something? What do you guys think? Anybody there? I don't know. I'm already sweaty, so like hopping into a game would undoubtedly. Diablo 4? Okay. No. I am not playing a Diablo game, okay? It's hard enough for me to play any Blizzard game. Hold on, I'll show you my cat. You look ripe for that game? I look ripe in general with how much I'm sweating, alright? Let me see. Maybe we'll do the character creation another day. Because, like, straight up, I'm cooked, man. I'm freaking cooked. And since I'm, like, currently sweating through every pore in my body, a chill game of Glass Masquerade. What is Glass Masquerade? That sounds like a... That sounds like something dirty. I don't know. Glass. Glass Masquerade. $5 for these games. I mean, the aesthetic is kind of cool. What the hell am I even looking at? It's all Art Deco? Alright. $5? $5? Are you kidding me? Yeah. I don't know. Do you need $5 for it? Well, here's the thing. Even if you gave $5, I don't know if I would buy it and play it. I'm being straight up with you. I don't know. Let me see. I got a lot on my mind, okay? I'm considering extending stream. Considering it.
Get yourself some entertainment.
Get yourself some entertainment. I already told you, man. I'm not gonna... I want me to spend $5 on a game that I'm just now finding out about? Don't get it. Get something else. Shit. Let me see. Since it's your $5, let me ask you. What are your thoughts on Frog Detective? Frog Detective. Go ahead and give it a look. $5 game. Or the game is not amazing, but it passes time. Seriously, get something else. I could get all of Frog Detective for $13.47. Frog Detective 1, 2, and 3. I'll let you consider it. I might come back. I still gotta send you that artwork. I ended up not entering it into that, like, the art competition thing, because it was like is a situation where people could like bid on the artwork and stuff like that, and I was like, it's already sold. There's no point in me putting it in there. You know what I mean? I didn't want other people to like think they could have it. Crazy. What? I'm not crazy, man. I'm totally normal. Also, just entering it in the competition would have been $65 or $45. 65 if I wanted to put in 3 pieces of artwork, and I was just, I can't stretch that right now. I ain't got that kind of scratch, you know what I mean? Interesting, never heard of that. It's like a competition where there's like $1,000 prize if like you win, you know, there's like judges and everything like that. But all of your artwork also gets like, you know, put on sale, basically, you know? It's something like that. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know how into buying artwork people are right now, but I wasn't gonna mess around with it. Just didn't seem up my alley at this current point in time. I got way too much other stuff on my plate. Tell you what, we haven't played a little bit of BattleBit. Let's play one game of BattleBit before bed, okay? One game of BattleBit. We'll call it that. Because the stream's been a little bit sleeper, and it's mostly because I am sweating my soul from my body. It's hard to have, like, energy when I'm basically sitting in a sauna. You know, so please excuse me for that. I got into watching that JFK video, and then I quickly, like, you know, after so long of hearing just, like, bullshit after bullshit, I was like, all right, I'm over it, okay? I was like, maybe it'll bring me back, maybe it'll bring me back in, but then I just... No. I fell out of the video, and then I was just... I couldn't imagine anyone else being still in it, you know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. Let me know. Makes great videos. I'm just being straight up. I'm just being straight up. Let's see. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. Ba-da-ba-ba-da. You know we're putting on this playlist. Ah! Okay. Can you tell how much I'm just, like, struggling here? So this happened last summer, too. Last summer, the AC also went out, and, yeah. Wasn't great. Wasn't great. I'll tell you that much. Take me over to primary. Put on good cam. There it is. Hey, it's me. I'll play one game. I had a chest day today. It hurt. No, don't enter the fucking shooting range. God damn it. I clicked back on the screen and it pulled up the shooting range. God damn it. Alright, let's see what we got. Let's see what happens. We're just hopping in a random game. It's the heat. Taste the heat. Taste the meat, not the heat. Okay. Are you holding up? I'm friggin' dying. I was gonna do the 5M character creation, but man, it's way too hot in my basement. The AC is out in my house. It's 90 degrees. I'm cooked, man. I wanted to be in like a better vibe for doing something like that. I feel like I just need to be like, you know, feeling myself. Salhan. Also, I haven't played this game in a little bit. Salhan! How are you holding up? How you been? Had a migraine all day, feeling better. That's good to hear. I mean, not that you had a migraine all day, but that you're feeling better. May hop onto Val? Valorant or Valheim? Valorant. I kind of figured. It's been a minute since I played this, and by a minute I mean like a week, so I might be a little rusty. Just keeping my eyes open for the opening snipes. Nothing really special to speak of, so we're gonna move in. I've been trying to get better at the game. Got my first MVP match 2 days ago. Hey, proud of you. I mean, it's definitely a game that has like a pretty big community of people that love playing it, but... Hello? Lag? That didn't last long. It can be toxic as fuck. Yeah, I mean... Same thing with pretty much any game nowadays, unfortunately. It's kind of bogus. What happened? Alright, close the program. Let's try again. Get into a BattleBit game. Any news on when your AC is getting fixed? Tomorrow. I just gotta make it through the night. Want me to go over and snuggle you? We would both overheat. I want the opposite of snuggles, okay? Just deploy me here. I'll run from the base, just try and get stuff done, you know? But yeah, I still want to do 5M. It's just that I want to be not dying the first time that I play. And I'm also still working on a character. I like the idea of the Midwest dad. Not really Midwest, but like Great Lakes kind of area. You know, Great Lakes dad. If that makes sense. It is going to take a while to get my shots back. That is for sure. Ooh, got him. Hit marker. Are those not toes? Wait, who's that? Oh, that's my teammate. It's not Toes. It's a tree. I'm an idiot. Alright, so... We're in trouble. But that's okay. But yeah, do you want to hear some good news, I guess? You like good news? Because I did sort of a phone interview with a place, and it went well, and I'm doing like an in-person interview. So that'll be fun. I got you.
I love you.
I'm coming for you. That's awesome. It's pretty exciting. It's been a while since I've moved jobs, but this would be a good one for better pay and more hours, So, finally be able to afford some things that I've needed for a while. Deserve it, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a step in the right direction. Things are gonna be a little bit better. Maybe if I get my own place, I can, I don't know, have like a better streaming room. Could you imagine? That would be pretty crazy. Owning places, that's a luxury. It sure is.
No, there was one guy that killed me earlier.
You okay?
No, it's the depression. It's too much.
Hey, Big Red, that's a good name though.
Thank you. I was called that in high school because I was fat and a redhead. But I've adopted it as my own core identity, and it's great. I'm a big guy. I'm red. It's how it works out.
I respect that, but like a big guy being named Big Red, that's like a tale as old as time, Shit.
Right?
Oh, come on.
You got Cap too. Oh, dude. Oh, we were bonding.
That's fucked up. We were talking, bro. We were chit-chatting. What a mean guy. That's why I like this game. Name another shooter game that you can just make friends on the battlefield like that. Like, come on. Ooh. Yeah, I never had a chance. But it was scoping me with a sniper that whole time. Oh, we lost E? Come on, man. Oh. Bad timing on my behalf. I think we're about to lose. Alright. Not a great game. Not a great game. Conquest? Azagor? We want to do River? We're playing it. I didn't even see which one it was. Was it Eduardo? It was Valley. Okay. A bit more of a sniper map. We'll do one more. Mostly because that game I just got owned. Made a new friend though.
No, Mr. Superman, my dear.
And we stop by the bases, we pick up the objectives just for the points. Oh shit. Now we go to B? Oh shit. Just need to find a good vantage point. Oh, I like this building. Not a whole lot to see from here yet. We can come back to this. We just gotta keep advancing until we start seeing opponents. And then pray that they don't see us. Well, there's a good building. A better building, at least. That's just a straight up tank. I ain't killing that. Anybody up there? Looking for bogeys. There we go. Got him. Goodbye, Krabby Patty. I don't think they'll be going back to that roof. Too high. They were sort of just destroying these guys. They backcapping us? No? Jesus. Enemy team just gonna FF? I wasn't even paying attention, to be honest. Going a wide route around. So that way anybody who might be here won't see me coming. Nobody went up there. Well, what's to stop me? How in the fuck? What do I... Is this it? Oh my god, I'm here. I can see everything. And yet I see nothing. Where are the opponents? Alright. Found one. I think that dude was just AFK, but hey, we got one. Is he all the way back to their spawn? Okay, this is gonna annoy me. Ooh, imagine. They have a full team? 74 players to 73? But I ain't seen shit. Oh, come on. Well, I was having fun. Holy shit. I need to get the hell away. There's nobody there. Of course I would die. It's just like, ain't shit happening in this game except for being killed by something out of my control. Not even making friends. Not even making friends. You know how that feels? Oh no, we're losing E. Fancy shit. Got people landing me. Great. Dodged all those bullets. And then somebody else kills him. I got my dang Magnum with red dot sight on it. Scared me. Where even are the opponents, man? I need to get over onto E. Apparently there must be some sort of dang bloodbath happening over there. Back to the top of this hill. What are the odds those guys are still there? Nice. The enemy just, like, ain't doing very much of anything. Can't see my way through to B, though. Action? No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't. Can't see shit. Where are you? You didn't see anything. Well, I'm playing cat and mouse with this guy. Are they taking C? They are. Damn it. He's repositioning. Get off that roof. Peek out the side of it. It's an empty game, man. A moving target, you say? Ah! More fun. I love just watching, like, the little jumps and the wiggles. Alright, let's head over to the enemy spawn. Perfect. Where the fuck is the enemy team? True. Okay, we found the boundary line. Is it safe to assume... Well, take your spot. Come on, take your spot. Don't look behind you. Oh, I know how much you like that. Run to the trees. I need to find a good crevasse to hide in. They didn't give up. They didn't give up. Alright, yeah, I'm bored as shit. Oh! Give me this. Give me the damn rocket launcher. I'm gonna spawn right here. I don't care. Just put me on a boy. Put me on a boy. I destroyed the vehicle eventually.
Where we going, Doug?
I don't even know. Let's head back to...
This shit's going down now.
Let's just go crazy on C. Enemy team isn't really doing anything.
Trying to head toward D.
Oh, that's good too.
You're dead, bitch. You're not gonna kill me, you son of a bitch.
Alright. Let's just respawn. Oh no, the music stopped. It just ain't shit happening this game. I'm bored. Alright, and there's just nothing happening in that one. There was nothing going on. I just... Give me in a damn full match next time. I'm sorry. Alright. Well, shit. You know what? I gotta end stream. I'm overheating. And ain't shit happening. Should have just, yeah. Should have done something a little bit more fun. But, you know, sometimes you just don't do that. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.